From Arlington, Texas, it's day 2 of the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series coming to you on FloCollege. And coming up, quite the matchup today between two teams ranked in the top 25. The 16th ranked Florida State Seminoles representing the ACC against 9th ranked Auburn Tigers out of the SEC in the 120th all-time meeting between these two storied programs. Good afternoon and welcome to Globe Life Field alongside Ty Harrington. I'm Brant Freeman. And Ty, again, what a match between two teams ranked in the top 25, both on Omaha's doorstep a year ago and both coming off big wins yesterday.
Well, I mean, look, if you look and you far enough into the future, if we could grab a crystal ball, it wouldn't shock me if these two teams a little bit on down the road are playing each other in a super regional. They're that type of team, and we've got that type of game for you today.
The first team batting today is Florida State, and here's a look at the Seminoles lineup presented by Amegy Bank. Yesterday, FSU putting up 6 runs in a win over the Michigan Wolverines to stay unbeaten on the year. Very good top part of the order. Dowd, Sheffield, and Bailey can all rake, but Gabe Frazier, you see him sitting in the 6 hole. And he had the big day yesterday for Florida State in their win over the Wolverines. By the way, the same lineup for the Seminoles today as it was yesterday against Michigan. And now we take a look at Auburn Tiger starter. On the mound today is Jackson Sanders, and starting pitching has been dominant so far for Auburn.
I think that's an understatement when you start digging in there, Brant. And we talked about it before that 5 games, they've only given up 5 runs. And so they're getting obviously quality starts. And if you're giving up those few runs over that many games, you're getting good help in the back end and the middle from your bullpen.
Well, here's the Auburn defense this afternoon in Game 2 of the day. Bub Terrell, Bristol Carter, Cade Ballou in the outfield for the Tigers. Eric Guevara, Ryan Farber, Brandon McCrane, Caden Combs, and Chase Freilich, one of the top defensive catchers in the country. Part of the defense today for Auburn. And Sanders ready to work, and off we go on a strike call to get things going between FSU and Auburn.
Well, nothing like a top 20 matchup in the middle of the afternoon in a tournament where it seems like every time we turn around, it's been a top matchup.
This ball headed towards the gap in deep left center field, and that is good. Oh, it's off the top of the wall, almost cleared the fence. Braden Dowd with a towering shot, just missing a home run. It's a leadoff double, and a great way to start the day for Florida State.
He does not waste any time. Ball's middle, slider stays with it. That's the kind of approach you're going to have when it's a left-left matchup. You understand why this young man's hitting at the top of the order. And you said it. That is at the very top of the fence, and it bounced back in for a double.
Well, that is about as close as you can get to a home run without clearing the yard. And now it's Noah Sheffield for Florida State. A swing and a miss, maybe a foul tip strike there. It's 0-1. Talked about just how dominant Auburn pitching has been. Last week in the sweep over Youngstown State, 43 strikeouts for the staff, most in a 3-game series for the program since 1992. And yesterday, last night, held a very good K-State offense to a single run.
Yeah, no, they did, and one that ended at the end of the game, I think, on an error or a tough play that led to the run. And you're right, a K-State team that's, heavy-barreled.
Sheffield, the ground ball, and it gets off the glove of McCrane. Down, coming around third, and he will score. Seminoles strike first on top 1-0.
Well, if you're Sheffield, they ran 2 sliders underneath you, trying to get you to pull the ball to the left side. This time, with 2 strikes, they try to sneak a fastball away. Sheffield does a great job. Watch this right here. Fastball away, he stays with it. And again, they're in a shift defense. If they're playing straight up, that's going to be a routine ground ball to second base. Would have moved him to third, but instead it gets ricochets off his glove for an RBI single.
Brings up Miles Bailey, and Jackson Sanders' job not getting any easier. That ball ripped to right, another base hit. And a hard turn from second by Sheffield on his way to third, and he's there standing. Runners on the corners. 3 straight hits for Florida State to open the game.
Well, they brought their hitting shoes as soon as they got off the bus, apparently. Fastball in, elevated. He does a good job of driving this ball to the right field. Nice approach, flat swing to it. And to me, Sheffield's the one who recognized where it was hit, put his head down, and knew he was going all the way to third base.
And for Bailey, his first hit of this weekend's tournament. Drew a couple of walks yesterday against Michigan. And Sanders, the sophomore left-hander, just had a talk with his catcher, Chase Fralick.
Well, I mean, you look, you get prepared to pitch all week long, and then all of a sudden you get out there and it's bam, bam, bam. So, I mean, you got to slow his mind down. And truthfully, Brad, it's one of those moments as coaches they talk about. And let me tell you, in life, it's easier said than done for just, normal everyday life, but particularly in a baseball game, and that is stay in the present. You got to stay right here, right now. You can't do anything about what has already happened.
Cal Fisher drives that one foul. Count evens a ball and a strike. Sanders, first-year starter for the Tigers, was a reliever as a freshman a year ago.
And if you're Auburn right now, you would trade 2 for 1, a double play and give up the run at third base. If you just to get this inning calmed down and slowed down.
A nice breaking pitch there from Sanders.
Yeah, that's the 4th swing miss on that slider. Sheffield had 2. That's 4. I mean, you got to think he might, if he shows something up out of the zone, maybe away again, but elevated, then go back to it.
This ball is popped up in the infield, and the third baseman, Guevara, calls off Farber to make the catch. The runners hold. And that's good for the first out of the inning.
Well, that can be helpful. I'm not saying it's the cure-all for Sanders, but again, it's that slider he went back to. This one caught a little bit more plate than the 2 before, but enough to get a fly ball in the infield for an out. And now again, you're 1 pitch away, possibly, from trying to get a double play.
Carnes lays off the slider. The Seminoles catcher hitless yesterday against Michigan. And Florida State head coach Link Jarrett, as good as they are offensively at the top of the order, they need the bottom of the order to produce. And the middle, as Carnes is hitting 5th today for Florida State, and he said they really need him to produce.
The middle of your lineup, if you're going to be successful, I mean, I'm stating the obvious. It's got to be productive for you. And then when you pick up some runs from the bottom half or the bottom third, they're bonuses. But the reason, Brant, these guys are in this part of the lineup is for that reason. That's the production piece of it. I mean, unless your lineup is just so unreal from 1 to 9, then it's just, you don't let anybody up for error.
2-1 pitch. There's that slider again, and another swing and miss on that breaker from Sanders.
I got to think he's going back to it. I mean, I guess the reality is, if you want to throw a 2-seam fastball away, if he's just trying to get the ball in play, you can induce a ground ball to the shortstop, second base area. And I think he's going to try to go for a swing miss.
There it is. Slider again. First strikeout for Sanders. And now 2 down in the inning.
That thing right there, I mean, that thing is that slider. Right now, they've not been able to put it in play except for the 1 fly ball to the third baseman. We get another look at this, and you can see, I mean, it probably starts sounding out of his hand, spinning. You probably can hear it, but it's not a huge over-the-top breaker. I mean, it's a side-to-side, and then right at the end, it's got just enough duck and hide to it.
Now, Gabe Frazier, 3 hits against the Wolverines yesterday. It was a homer shy of the cycle. And if you recall, Ty, he kept attacking the opposite part of the field.
Yeah, I mean, he did. I mean, well, let's go right. Dow did the same thing to lead the game off of. I think it's part of their well-taught, well-thought-out offensive plan for all their hitters.
Unable to catch up to the fastball, 1-1. Got him swinging. Well, that was strike 2, 1-2. Frazier behind of the count. Florida State, first 3 batters reaching. Sanders trying to mitigate the damage.
Well, he's got him to swing in 2 of his fastballs and miss. I'm curious. What was he going after him with? No, another fastball.
Through the right side, and a base hit will drive home Sheffield. A 2-out single from Gabe Frazier makes it 2-0 Seminoles.
Yeah, that's a big 2-out hit. A lot of games throughout a season and a year decided with 2-out hits, and it looks like Auburn was going to escape with minimal damage with 1 run scored. He goes back to the fastball. We were just talking about what is he going to go to. He elevated up above the catcher's mask. Giving Carnes a chance to get his bat. I'm sorry, Frazier a chance to get his bat to it, and he does, and he comes through for the Seminoles.
Now DeLamelier. And in there for a strike, Brody DeLamelier, 1 for 4 with a double against the Wolverines yesterday. That ball hit sharply up the middle, another base hit. Bailey around third. 3-0 Florida State.
Another impressive at-bat. Now, this is an early count at-bat, unlike what Frazier's was when he hit 2 strikes. He only has a strike in a count, but what I mean by that, these hitters, we were talking about it with the left-left matchup hitters, these guys are going up there trying to hit the ball back up the middle. That's where their approach is, allowing the ball to get to them enough, that breaker. And if you allow that breaker to get to you, you get time to square it up, get the barrel to it. Well, that ball was smashed back up the middle.
Everett Tiefer, the pitching coach, out of the mound now to visit with Sanders, who's been laboring in this first inning.
You had a chance, you had Frazier 1-2 and elevated that fastball. I mean, who knows what would, if and buts he wasn't trying to, but who knows if he comes up a little bit better pitch there, what this inning could look like. But that's why we play these games, and that's why when it happens, it happens. And if you make a mistake, Gabe Frazier's shown you so far, just in a game and an inning, he'll make you pay for it.
Already 21 pitches in the inning as he faces the 8th batter of the lineup, Jace Estes.
Here we go.
That gets away from Fralick, and that's going to bring home Frazier.
Elevated a fastball. It's a huge miss. You get another look. And then obviously, catcher not thinking it's going to be up there, but you got to be prepared for it in that position that a pitcher may, rip a fastball up or a breaker up and have that kind of miss.
Hard of the plate, strike 1.
His best strike throwing pitch so far has been that right there, a slider. It's 83, 84, and it's been his best command.
Catches the other half of the plate, breaking ball again to make it 1-2.
Yeah, he could throw a bunch of those right there, and he wouldn't surrender a whole lot of offense, or he certainly would stay off some barrels.
Got him swinging. 3 straight sliders. Estes strikes out. Second punch out for Sanders, but the damage done by the Seminoles. A 4-run first inning for Florida State. Auburn looking to respond. After this, you're watching the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series on FloCollege.
The Whataburger Monterey Melt is back? You've got some nerve showing up here again, looking all delicious with your fresh all-beef patties, melty cheeses, grilled peppers and onions, and jalapeno ranch. When I want you, you're nowhere to be found. And now you're back? Aw, get in here. We just missed you, that's all. The Whataburger Monterey Melt is back and harder to resist than ever. Download the app. What a burger!
Bowman Engineering and Consulting and their dedicated Amegy business banker worked together to put the us in business banking, which included the occasional lunch meeting. Now, it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry, because you're more than a customer, we're more than a bank, and together we'll help put your business on solid financial footing. With comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, planning sessions whenever you need them. Here, we collaborate. Here, you grow.
At Globe Life, we have policies for almost everybody.
Welders?
Yes.
Farmers?
Yes.
Rodeo clowns?
No, we don't cover rodeo clowns.
Construction workers?
Yes.
Electricians?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Not rodeo clowns.
Factory workers?
Yes.
Chefs?
Yes.
Birthday clowns?
Yes.
Ah, come on!
Globe Life Insurance. Affordable coverage for almost everyone.
And welcome back to Arlington. Now the Amegy Bank lineup for the Auburn Tigers. Carter, Terrell, Guevara, top third of the order for Auburn, followed by Fralick, McCrane, and Gregorio. And the order rounded out by Caden Combs, Kate Ballou, and Ryan Farber. There is a huge part of the lineup not available again today. Chris Remberts, preseason first-team All-American, out with an ankle injury. And on the mound today for Florida State is Bryson Moore. A short outing last week against JMU. He gave up 3 runs in less than 2 innings of work.
Brand, it's going to be fastball mid-90s. How many times have we said that this weekend? Mid-90s, 93 to 96. And it's a 5-pitch mix. You know, I used to, back in the day, you tell everybody, hey, well, just make sure you can throw 3. But the pitch that's really come into play in college baseball that started in the professional ranks is the cutter. It's a commandable pitch, and he's going to add that part to his repertoire with a slider change, cutter for command, and then obviously a 95, 96 mile-an-hour weapon fastball.
First year transfer from Virginia. 1-2 to the leadoff man, Carter. Borderline pitch, count evens, 2 balls and 2 strikes. And of course, Wes Mendez set the tone for Florida State pitching yesterday. He was brilliant against Michigan.
Yes, to answer that question is yes. He was brilliant. He was efficient.
Weakly hit ground ball. Fielded with a bare hand by Moore. But Carter able to reach first without a throw, and the leadoff man is on for the Tigers.
Crazy game, isn't it? Great pitch. Hitter's just trying to do everything he can to get this ball in play, and he does. This is one of those moments in baseball you go, wow, what do you do? He didn't hit it hard. It was a great pitch, but yet the hitter ends up on first base with a base hit.
Defense today for the Seminoles. Down Williams, DeLavalier, the outfield. Frazier, Fisher on left side of the infield for head coach Link Jarrett. Estes and Bailey on the right side, and the catcher Hunter Carnes. Today for the Seminoles is Bub Terrell. Comes up now for Auburn. And looks at a strike.
One of the interesting things coaches has got to have to make a choice on. If you give up crooked numbers in the first inning or 2, and you get down 3-4 runs, does it take you out of your offense? Do you throw the brakes on as far as running and stealing? I don't think you do, but some will, because you feel like you're chasing, right? You don't want to make outs on the bases. But if it is part of your offense, and I always felt like, and again, I'm saying anything other than you need to stick with it. Let them run your offense, because you got to score. I mean, you get thrown out a couple times, that'd be what it is. But and what I'm trying to tell you about that, they're checking right there to throw to first, so just to make sure that, you know, Carter, these guys at the top of the order who can run, stay in check. But if you're Auburn and you get the opportunity, you feel like he's going to throw a breaker, he's slower to the plate, let him run. And I think Florida State's thinking the same thing right now with back-to-back pickoffs.
Trying to shorten that lead of Carter's at first. Terrell, the batter, a couple of hits last night against K-State. In fact, the top 4 hitters combining for 6 hits for Auburn last night, 6 of their 11. Bottom third of the order, added the other 5. It was the middle part that didn't do a ton last night for the Tigers. Butch Thompson telling us earlier in the week that the offensive starts to the season for Auburn has left a little bit to be desired. But again, Ty, you're without Chris Rembert. That's going to affect your lineup.
Of course it is. When you got great athletic hitters in your lineup, and you're relying on that, you know, part of your run production and part of your run reasons, which he is. I mean, he scores a lot of runs too. And obviously, you're going to have a blank in there, and it's going to be, you're fighting a little more uphill.
3-1 to Terrell. A swing and a miss on an elevated fastball fills the count.
But they've been able to make up some of that run, you know, disappearance on the mound prior to this first inning. I mean, heck, they gave up almost as many runs they've given up the whole year in the top half of the first.
Full count, runner goes, and we'll do it again.
That wasn't a straight steal. He was late getting out. I don't know if that was I'm not going to use the word delay steal, because I don't think it was. He didn't have quite the, almost like a hit and run, but didn't a run and hit with a 3-2 count. You make sure he goes to the plate before you take off, because you don't want to get picked.
Runner goes again, and once again, Terrell fights it off.
Yeah, now that was a steal. He had a good job. That was a straight steal. After about your second or third step, Brant, you look in, because you got to find the baseball. Don't rely on the defenders to tell you where the ball is, because those middle infielders start playing games on with your mind and deking you in all different kind of ways. But after about the second or third step, somewhere in there, you peek in and try to find where the ball is.
That's a walk. And the first 2 have reached for the Tigers.
That's a nice piece of hitting. Got the count 3-1. Got it to full. Fought off 2 fastballs up in the zone. And sometimes when the runner's going, you become ultra aggressive as a hitter, because you feel like you've got to cover that, hit that runner up. He does a good job of taking it, earning a walk. If you're Auburn, you would love a response to what happened in the first inning.
Big miss there from Moore. 1-0 to Guevara. Here, Guevara, sophomore out of Panama. A .331 hitter a year ago.
I think this is going to warrant a visit. Pitching coach. You and I have talked about this before, and I've said it on air a couple times, but I think in general, the baseball public, or maybe just public in general, would be fascinating to hear what goes on and what is said in that mound in certain times. And sometimes it's predictable, and then sometimes you go out there just making stuff up, or whatever it might be, just trying to get his attention back and his focus back, and then maybe trying to get him to breathe, relax, who knows, but something to help him execute.
That ball hit sharply to short. Could be 2, and it is. 6-4-3 double play for the Seminoles. And there's 2 down in the inning. Carter now at third, but that was a big twin killing for Florida State.
You're exactly right. This is how you draw it up. Number one, you make a great pitch, a 2-seam fastball in on the hitter, creating the ground ball response off the barrel, and then watch the shortstop. He knows it, kind of knees down, feeds it right to the bag, knows that he's done enough of that with that second base, and leads him to the front of that bag where he can come across, get his right foot down, and execute the throw, the pivot and the throw.
Runner through 2 out for Chase Fralick, who looks at his strike. And remember, Florida State having to replace its middle infield from a year ago, one of the top middle infields in the country, but that looked like an exceptional double play execution.
It did. Again, it started with the pitch itself. Fastball into a right-handed hitter with sink to it can create that opportunity, and it did. And then you're right. It's like they, in the middle of practice, hitting fungo balls to him, right? The shortstop kind of drops his right knee down, knowing he's going to field it. And all he's got to do is underhand. Doesn't have to overhand throw it to the second base and let the second baseman do his thing.
Caught on the missed on the breaking ball. Fralick, a freshman All-American a year ago, preseason second team All-SEC coming into this year. Great offensive numbers on top of his phenomenal catching, but here he pops up into foul territory, and it is play ball, and what a catch! Gabe Frazier laying out to make the play for Florida State.
I'm going with a controlled fall to make this play right here. I mean, the ball starts to feed back to the field, and it happens often enough. An infielder goes as hard as he can, and you're watching him. He goes as hard as he can. Ball starts to go back to the field, stays with it, catches it in the palm of his glove as well, and still hangs with it, and ends the inning.
We go to the second. Florida State on top of the Auburn Tigers 4-0 at the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series.
The appetite for destruction returns. Guns N' Roses World Tour 2026. One night. Globe Life Field, September 9th. Tickets are on sale now at livenation.com.
We've seen touchdowns and we've seen home runs, but Arlington has never seen speed like this. A stampede of drivers who fear nothing and no one. Crowds that match the volume of 700 horsepower. A spectacle built between two of the most iconic stadiums on earth.
How cool.
This ain't our first rodeo, but it might be our fastest.
At Shriners Children's, we're home to the world's leading pediatric orthopedic care. Because so many life-changing advancements start here. We provide access to the best doctors and never allow your ability to pay for services to compromise the care your child needs. We're the first place to turn for the most common or complex orthopedic conditions. Home to possibility and empowering kids to achieve the extraordinary. Shriners Children's, the most amazing care anywhere.
And welcome back to Arlington. 4-0 Florida State on top. We're now joined by Auburn Tigers head coach Butch Thompson. And coach, you said coming into the tournament you were hoping to gain something from this. You're coming off a win last night. What did you take away for the win against Kansas State?
Yeah, I thought Jake Marciano, our starter, was tremendous, and Bristol Carter, it's the first time he had led off in a start this year, and just kind of ignited us. We hadn't swung the bat really yet to start this year, and I thought he gave us a spark there with his running of the bases and finding a way to get on 3 times.
Coach, you're a repeat offender of coming to this tournament, and I see the smile on your face, and I know part of the reason why you guys love to come here, and you don't have to, right? You guys could stay home in y'all's beautiful facility and find somebody to come to your place and play. Tell us a little bit why you enjoy, why you look forward to coming to this tournament.
Yeah, I think we solidified some identity, and just like there in the first, I guess they had a better mound visit than we did, but we almost got out of that with 1 run. We got it to 1 pitch, 2 strikes, and they wound up getting 4. And they wound up, hitting the double play there after we got the first 2 on. But these are the little things you learn, and sometimes I think playing a Florida State and all these different teams we play, you learn more. It sticks out more. We have better teaching points. But, one of the best venues in the world for baseball, something they dream and aspire to do. And, if we're going to try to find a way to win our 7th in a row in this deal, we're going to have to settle down and score some runs to keep Jackson Sanders on the mound a few innings here.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned playing at a big league ballpark. Something you talked to us about earlier in the week was the fact that in the SEC, 83 former SEC players on big league rosters at opening day last year. In terms of the competition and parity in the SEC, just how stacked is it now?
Yeah, better than ever. It's my 25th year. Very blessed to be in this league for this long as an assistant growing up. Now, getting to be the head coach here. I thought it was great then, and it's only kept exceeding expectations for a lot of different reasons. But, there's more parity as well. So it doesn't matter, coast to coast where everybody plays with the limited draft and all the things that you guys have spoke about during the years and in prep for this tournament. College baseball is at an all-time high.
Good stuff. Coach, thanks so much. Best of luck the rest of the game.
Thank you.
Again, Tigers head coach Butch Thompson. He was one of 3 coaches in program history with more than 300 wins. Braden down with the ground ball. Goes off the glove of Farber and can't recover as Dowd reaches with 1 out here in the 2nd.
This is going to be an interesting call, whether it's a base hit or an error. I personally think it's a base hit. The ball was hit hard back up the middle, hard enough it got past the pitcher. Farber's on the run to his left. Goes a long way. Here, get another look at this. He didn't have to run that far, but he got an in-between hop. And I got to be honest with you, I thought he was going to grab it on the second. When it nicked off his glove, I thought he was going to catch it on that second hop off his glove. He wasn't able to come up with it.
And Sheffield got a piece of that on the bunt attempt. Looks like in the stadium they have scored that as an error against Farber. First-year transfer from Texas State. He did play in this ballpark a year ago in a midweek win for the Bobcats over Oklahoma State. A couple of years playing for Steve Trout, now playing for Butch Thompson at Auburn.
Yeah, we've had a chance to watch this young man play a bunch. He's a baseball guy. The game, the flow of the game, the reason for the game comes to him in a mindful way. And he understands it, and a lot of people can play it and have gifted skill levels and tools, but one of his biggest tools is he understands the flow of the game and what's about to happen. Doesn't mean you're not going to make an error, by the way. We've all made them, I assure you of that. And as an old infielder, I was kind of hoping they'd give him a base hit on that. I want to say something about Butch Thompson before we get away from it too far. He said something. He was talking about the SEC, and he was talking about it's his 25th year in the SEC as an assistant coach and a head coach. Well, and how much the game has changed. The pressure to succeed in the SEC in college baseball is higher than it's ever been too, right? As good as it is, and good as the game is. To last 25 years in the SEC tells you how good he is, based on just how much pressure there is to win in this league and in college baseball.
Got him looking, strike 3, third strikeout for Sanders. Got him on the breaking ball, which again has been his most effective pitch to start the game.
Yeah, and not the bigger one. This is a little bit smaller breaker, but it starts off the plate enough, Brant, that it makes you think as a right-handed hitter it's going to stay off the plate. and it doesn't. It's got enough bite to it, enough action to it. And it rushes back across and catches the middle of the plate.
There you see the strikeout numbers for starters entering today. Marciano, 20 of them so far in 2 starts for the Tigers as Miles Bailey comes up. And you're getting back to the SEC too. Something that Butch Thompson pointed out is all 16 teams are fully invested in the sport of college baseball. Sometimes you hear a school is a football school or a basketball school. In the SEC, everybody is invested in baseball.
Yeah, that's an incredible point and an important one. Because as you just said, like some of the schools, and we've talked to some coaches that are here that, I think, they were telling me that Michigan's only 12 scholarships. So if you start talking about some of these other schools that they're playing with 24 to 30, whatever the magic number can be for them. And in the SEC, they're putting forth the money for scholarships, resources for facilities, paying their coaches. They've got rev share. It's so popular because they have vested in their facilities. Now you got a fan base, so that creates NIL opportunities for the players. And so you're 100%. They are vested and they are committed.
A slider that misses, 3-1 to Bailey. Single that scored for the Seminoles back in the first inning.
I think there's a business model out there that administrators can go and look at and see when you really commit to college baseball, what your return is, your return on your investment. And it's high. I truly believe that because college baseball is bigger and better than it's ever been. Now, I'm not a football coach. Now, I love football. I grew up in a football family. My dad was a college and high school coach, but if a business person came to me and goes, hey, I got a new startup idea that's got some legs already. It's already going great and it's taking off. It's college baseball.
Runner goes as Bailey draws a walk. He's on for the second time. 2 on, 2 out. That'll send up Cal Fisher for the Seminoles.
Sanders gets so close to closing out these innings. He was close to inning before. You heard Butch talking about it too. He was 1 pitch away from getting out. There was 1 run scored, and had a chance right there, maybe on a left-left matchup. Even though Bailey is a good-looking left-handed hitter and got a base hit the first time up, but you got to be able to close out innings.
Swing and a miss on the breaking ball, and 0-1 to Cal Fisher. We showed the starting pitcher strikeout numbers for the Tigers so far, and it's pretty commendable. Starting pitching has been as good as it has been because this is a team that's without its top starter. Griffin Graves going to be out for a while. So early on in the season, this Auburn team battling injuries to some top players in Graves and Rembert, and here they are, 9th in the country and out to a 4-1 start.
If you can survive injuries early in the year, you've got a chance to really be special because you're creating depth while succeeding. It's just hard when you get up against the types of teams they're playing, particularly the ones they're playing here.
And Fisher comes up empty. That's strikeout number 4 for Sanders in the Seminoles strand 2. We head to the bottom of the second inning. Auburn coming up to bat. Some work to do, trailing by 4. You're watching the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series on FloCollege.
Every shot starts with belief. Something extraordinary can happen. Shriners Children's provides hope, healing, and the chance to dream big. They never allow the ability to pay to compromise the care children receive. Shriners Children's empowers the extraordinary, and you can too. Join me in supporting this life-changing cause and help provide the most amazing care anywhere.
The biggest weekend in rodeo is coming to Arlington, Texas. The American Rodeo Championship Weekend returns May 22nd and 23rd at Globe Life Field, with special live performances from 2-time Grammy-nominated Midland on Friday and country superstar Chris Young on Saturday. This is rodeo at its finest, and the only place to experience it is Globe Life Field. Don't wait. Tickets are on sale now at AmericanRodeo.com.
Winter, the only season you can't see a go-ahead home run.
That one is gone!
can't witness a filthy strikeout.
Holy moly!
Can't even experience a walk-off.
That ball is history!
And you're reminded there really are only two seasons, winter and baseball.
How about that?
So how do you win your winter? You get ready for baseball. Single game tickets now on sale, all for Texas.
We head to the bottom of the second, 4-0 Florida State. Talking a little bit more about the Auburn Tigers. Opened up this season at Plainsman Park last week with a sweep over the Penguins, dominating in that series, limiting Youngstown State to a total of 4 runs with a run rule victory on Sunday. But the midweek game beat by Cincinnati 8-0 at home. And, of course, last night, 5-1 winners over K-State. And after a 4-1 start this season. And one of 3 ranked teams in the field this weekend. Ranked 9th in the country. Louisville ranked 15th. Florida State coming in at number 16.
Ranked today. Let's see where that looks like in a month, because there'll be more. I think they have a chance to have more that are here in this tournament to possibly be ranked. In line with what Thompson was saying, you play Youngstown State those first 3 games in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a Big 12 team, but those first 3 give you a peek at your team. Let their feet get wet, the new guys, and get acclimated to playing at Auburn and trying to play Auburn baseball. And then, but you're probably not going to get the same information back, the same feedback back as you're going to probably get here, as he was just talking about, and what those teams and here can do to you.
That ball smoked up the middle for a leadoff base hit for Brandon McCrane. Leadoff bat is off with the Tigers for a second consecutive inning.
Is mogging the pitcher more.
And we mentioned the ranked teams in this field. Talked a lot about the SEC. Well, here are the ranked teams currently in D1 baseball's top 25. 11 of them. Reigning national champion LSU coming in at number 2. Jim Schlossnagel's Texas Longhorns 3rd. And Mississippi State right behind the Tigers and Longhorns coming in 4. You got 5 teams in the top 10. It is just a gauntlet in that conference.
I mean, who's not in there? I mean, South Carolina.
Kentucky?
Nope, they were in there.
No, Kentucky was in there.
Missouri. Yeah, Missouri and South Carolina. South Carolina, who's won 2 national titles, too, by the way.
Logan Gregorio, the plate now for Auburn. And a nice play by Moore to knock it down. Only play those at first. Good for the first out. It is productive to move McCrane over to second.
You got to field this ball if you're the pitcher, or at least make an effort. But the reality is, if he lets it go, it's right to the second baseman, covering second base, touch the bag, double play possibly. But you got to go after this ball, and it just got underneath his glove. I think obviously if he comes up clean, watch this right here. It's hit hard enough. I think he would have gone through, but it was right under his glove. And he does the only thing left he could do, and that's go get the out at first base.
Ball 1 to Caden Combs.
Big Riz is the biggest giga chat over Clive mogging the pitcher.
It's fouled away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Combs. Rookie player out of Gardendale, Alabama. It's just the second at-bat of the year. Throw back to second that gets it to center. McCrane on to third.
And that'll frustrate you as a coach. You got a guy at second base, 1 out, and it's going to take a base hit to get him, in. You go to an inside move pickoff, do it right to the bag. I don't know if the second baseman didn't think he was going to throw it, and or was late getting there.
And now the Tigers' first run, 90 feet away. That misses high, 2-1 for Moore. It's our second game of the day. Earlier today, Michigan brought out the bats to beat Louisville, 8-5.
Yeah, they were much more offensive in this early game than they were yesterday, and I think some of that had to do with the pitching they faced yesterday.
How about Tracy Smith's team? First 2 weekends into the year, they have 4 wins over the top 25.
Yep. The bullpen wasn't as good on Friday in the first game that we did, and then today, they came through. The bullpen was able to answer the bell and close out Louisville, who was trying to make a little run at the end. If you're Auburn right now and you're Combs, you may score 4 runs this inning. I don't know that, but what needs to happen is you got to get that guy in from 90 feet right now. You're chasing 4. The infield's back. You have got to make contact. Keep yourself up with the barrel. Get it in the middle of the field. Fly ball, ground ball in the middle. Something to get that run in.
Roll towards third, and that will bring the run in. A productive out there for Combs as well as McCrane goes around the bases and scores the Tigers' first run.
You just had to. I mean, that's a good job of hitting. It's not going to go down in the box score as a base hit. And look at his teammates. That tells you right there. They know. They're high-fiving him. They know that the pitcher on the staff for Florida State's throwing the ball well. You get a runner at third. They make a mistake. You have got to capitalize when you're chasing runs like that. And he came through for him. Combs did. Just a soft ground ball to third base to get the runner in.
K. Ballou with the bases empty. And looks at strike 1 for Moore. And coming up later tonight, the nightcap, K-State and Nebraska. A former Big 12 rivalry renewed. That ball hit towards second, gobbled up by Estes, and we go to the third. Auburn is on the board. The Florida State leads at the end of 2, 4-1. Seminoles coming back to the plate after this from Globe Life Field.
There's a big deal going on at Whataburger, like the new Big Ranch Wrap, a crispy chicken strip, buttermilk ranch, cheese, and fresh veggies in a warm tortilla. Or go bigger with 5 premium Whata chicken bites. Or go bigger than big with our Bacon Cheese Whataburger Jr. with fresh 100% beef and melty cheese. Make it even bigger with fries and a drink for a little more. Now that's a big deal. The Whata deal, now at What a Burger. Download the app.
Naylor Industries and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking, focusing on their business needs with lightning speed. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry. Because you're more than a customer, we're more than a bank, and together we'll help put your business on solid financial footing with comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, a banking partner who is just as invested in your growth as you are. Here we collaborate. Here you grow.
Forrest Frank, the Jesus Generation Tour. Live in a 360 in the round experience. With special guests Tori Kelly, Corey Asbury, plus the Figs. On sale now at ForrestFrank.com. Don't miss the Jesus Generation Tour with Forrest Frank.
Jesus is coming back.
Produced by TPR.
We took a look at the Auburn Tigers season. How about this year so far for Florida State? Opening weekend, won a couple of games against JMU before the finale was rained out, and then a midweek win over Jacksonville. And the Seminoles got very offensive in the finale against JMU and that game against the Dolphins, starting 3-0 or better for a 5th consecutive season. And of course, yesterday, winners over Michigan to improve to 4-0.
I thought yesterday they showed tremendous offensive planning, execution. You know, I'd say the majority of their hits were in the middle of the field and opposite field, as opposed to going up there being, you know, a little more emotional and too excited and trying to pull everything. And then today even, they've gone back again and hit some balls back up the middle that helped them in that beginning in the first inning.
The Hunter Carnes trying to walk this off right now.
Oh, those balls come off the bat 80, 90 miles. I mean, that's not hard. I don't. If you've never experienced getting hit with a baseball, watch this. Hi-ya! That is way up on the shin. That's above his shin guard.
One ball that would strike to Carnes, struck out against Sanders at his first at bat. The Seminoles have enjoyed playing at big league parks in their history. This is their 21st game ever playing in a major league stadium. An all-time record of 16-4. They played a lot in the 80s and 90s at the old Metrodome, former home of the Minnesota Twins.
You can see that. Look at that, Brent. It's like the light is shining on the mound right now, and it's the sun coming through the windows in left field, just beaming right down on the pitcher.
And there's the breaking ball again from Sanders as he strikes out Carnes for the second time. And that's the 5th strikeout for Sanders today.
And I don't know if that had any effect with that light right on, or that sunlight right on the pitcher, but get another look at this breaker. That ball came back a long ways just to catch the edge of home plate.
Now Gabe Frazier, Florida State. He's had a good start to his time at Arlington. Rips the first pitch foul to fall behind 0-1.
I was just thinking about our camera crew does a good job of that strike zone box. Could you imagine if they had the big screen that they have in here right now with the scoreboard, the kids' pictures on it, and the count and all that kind of stuff? Could you imagine if you put 2 really emotionally charged programs in here and it had the ball strike and the umpires? Could you imagine how grumpy it would sound at times in here? It would be the K-box crowd. I don't know, but whew, you talking about a lot of umpires not calling strikes. There'd be a bunch of them calling a lot of balls.
Well, as a former coach, would you like that? Would that be something you'd be for?
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. I think most coaches would be. They just want to know, like they want them. And I'm not saying, look, now. Okay, let me back up. The nostalgia piece of me, the baseball purist of me, tells you no. I want the umpires back there. That's part of this game. If you're asking most coaches, yeah, we let's have it. But me personally, I want the umpires out there. I think it's part of the game. Good, bad, or indifferent, however it gets. If we get a look at, we're making our way around the horn with the umpires, but I want them in the game because I think it's part of the game.
A Big 12 crew this weekend in Arlington. Mark Winters behind the plate today. Casey Mosier at first, Seth Buckminster at second, and Matthew Anderson at third. Full count to Frazier from Sanders. Swing and a miss on the slider again.
Sanders starting to settle in. A lot of that settle is because of this pitch right here. That slider has been swung at and missed multiple times, probably 7, 8, 9, 10 times today already. And so far, it doesn't matter if it's right and or left-handed hitters.
The last 4 outs for Sanders have been strikeouts. And there's a strike pumped in to DeLamielleure. Nothing in 2.
Rare fastball. A little right to left movement to it. DeLamielleure not able to make contact with it. I got to think he's going to be right back to that breaker. Yeah. I mean, it's been too good. And what he did, early in there, he was to the right-handed hitter, is throwing it on their right back foot. It starts in the strike zone, then breaks towards their right foot, and they swing over the top of it.
1-2, swing and a miss, struck out the side. Delamolier comes up empty as Sanders starting to mow down the Seminoles. But the Auburn Tigers still trail 4-1 as we head into the bottom of the 3rd inning. Carnes, Frazier, Delamolier, all victims in the inning. 4-1, Florida State here in Arlington.
Woodcraft and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking, creating a long-lasting relationship with open and quick communication. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry. Because you're more than a customer. We're more than a bank, and together we'll work to help put your business on solid financial footing with comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, the support you need to reach your business goals faster. Here we collaborate. Here you grow.
Every at-bat.
That one is gone!
Every pitch.
Got him swinging!
Every angle.
He will score, and the Rangers are in front!
From pregame to postgame. From the truck to the booth.
I hope you're fired up at home, sitting on the couch, watching your favorite baseball team.
It all starts here. Rangers Sports Network, the official home of Rangers Baseball.
The Rangers Foundation is really proud to support our community where they need us and when they need us. Crowds are bigger each year, and we're able to bring our donors in, and with the silent and live auction, we've raised almost $9 million to give back to our community.
Every year I come and support our organization. That's what we do best, helping the community.
And welcome back to Globe Life Field. Florida State on top of Auburn 4-1. And we're now joined by Seminoles head coach Link Jarrett. And coach, let's talk about the start of the game. A 4-run first inning for you. The top of the order looked very good. What do you make about the way your team has started today?
Well, you better capitalize when you have a chance. I mean, Sanders is really good, and you can see the combination of the 2 breaking pitches and the fastball that he runs in there. It's really tough. So we were on it early, and he probably made some mistakes and left some balls middle. You have to capitalize when you get opportunities like that, and some very good at-bats, yeah.
Ground ball is second, good for the first out of the inning.
I was going to let you watch that ground ball before I got to my question, just so you get a chance. Although that young man doesn't miss many. He's been impressive so far this weekend with that glove, by the way. But
I like these clean interviews. It's rare that I have. Every time I put this thing on, it seems like it's...
Well, you did it yesterday, too.
I know.
We may have to follow you around the rest of the year.
Sounds good. Just keep the trend.
Yeah.
Don't let me get in a mess here.
I got to ask, I think you said this, and correct me right or wrong, or lead me down this path. You talked about in the pre-coaches interviews that you guys had 12 guys drafted off of last year's team. Now, on that team from a year ago, the team, or guys coming in, or a combination of both, or what was that? Because that's impressive.
Yeah, there were 11 drafts and a free agent, so there were a dozen guys that were on our team. I'm not talking about the incoming recruits.
And
that's fair, isn't it?
Is gone.
That's a good, talented player that just hit that. But yeah, we had 11 sign and then 1 free agent. So a lot to replace on this roster, no doubt.
Well, that's unusual. Not many people do that. And again, I know you probably need to pay attention to this game. It's unusual to be doing an interview. We were just talking about you had clean innings, and then the guy steps up and hits a line drive home run. But to have 12 guys drafted is just almost unheard of in college baseball.
No, it is. And to watch the progress of these guys, like our third baseman from 2024 was the Astros right fielder last year. And I think with the compression of minor league baseball overall and the reduction of teams and shrinking the draft a little bit, you're going to have guys on this field that move quickly through the system, and in the case of our third baseman, right to the major league. So it's pretty neat. And I watched footage of Jamie Arnold throwing for the A's in his bullpen session last night. So some neat things to watch as you follow college baseball, in particular our group.
And Coach, speaking of starting pitching, Wes Mendez looked great for you on the mound yesterday. What did you take away from his start?
Really good use of the fastball cutter combination, through some really good sliders as well, and then mixed in the change, a handful of curveballs. So when you have that repertoire of pitches, as athletic as he is, the dynamic feel of the fastball and the cutter and the slider, I mean, the sky's the limit. And he'll be in the conversation for what we discussed with the previous roster's drafts. Like, he checks every box, and he's still learning and growing and becoming more consistent. So that was fun to watch. And then Abraham behind him, he pitched well too. And that's a tough combination of lefty to righty to deal with. They were very effective yesterday.
Good stuff, Coach. Thank you so much, and best of luck.
Yeah, Coach, thanks for hanging with us during that home run too, and giving us your decision and thoughts about the draft and your team. We do appreciate that.
Thank you, fellas.
All right, that again, Link Jarrett, Seminoles head coach. Bristol Carter with a home run for the Tigers, but after that, Moore comes back to strike out Bub Terrell, out number 2, and that's the first strikeout of the day for Moore.
Well, at some point we got to go back, and I truly mean that. I appreciate Link staying with us for that. A guy hits a home run, I'd have hollered out something probably from the dugout or whatever, but he kept in conversation. And then we get a chance to look at this breaking ball. Look at it. That's a 12-6 slider right under Terrell's bat. But at some point we also got to go back and talk about the homer, because we didn't get a chance to visit about that. It's a huge line drive home run for Auburn now, who's cut this lead in half.
One's down 4-0. Now 4-2 game off the homer from Carter. And now Guevara hit into a twin killing at his first at-bat. Count even here for Moore. 1 ball, 1 strike. And for Carter, that was his first homer of the year, 5th of his career.
I don't think people understand what it's like to be in your job site in an intense moment, have people asking you questions and you're trying to answer them, and then somebody rings your bell with a homer. That's not easy to do.
The exact same thing happened in an earlier telecast today between Louisville and Michigan. Dan McDonald was up being interviewed by the broadcast crew, and Michigan had hit a home run.
Yeah. No, it's not easy. I did it one time, and that line drive came right over the top of my head. And I'm not sure I kept it PG. If I remember right, I mean, I was embarrassed after it happened, but it happened so quick.
Full count pitch. A swing and a miss. Climbs the ladder and comes up empty. Moore ends the inning with a pair of strikeouts, but Bristol Carter goes deep for the first time this season. A line drive just over the wall and left. The Tigers, once down 4, cut this lead to 2. Heading into the 4th, 4-2 Florida State.
Possible Missions and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking by sharing the same values both in the office and out in the community. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry, because you're more than a customer. We're more than a bank, and together we'll help put your business on solid financial footing with comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, by being a true community partner. Here we collaborate. Here you grow.
There's a big deal going on at Whataburger, like the new Big Ranch Wrap, a crispy chicken strip, buttermilk ranch, cheese, and fresh veggies in a warm tortilla. Or go bigger with 5 premium Whata chicken bites. Or go bigger than big with our Bacon Cheese Whataburger Jr. with fresh 100% beef and melty cheese. Make it even bigger with fries and a drink for a little more. Now that's a big deal. The Whata Deal, now at Whataburger. Download the app.
Every shot starts with belief. Something extraordinary can happen. Shriners Children's provides hope, healing, and the chance to dream big. They never allow the ability to pay to compromise the care children receive. Shriners Children's empowers the extraordinary, and you can too. Join me in supporting this life-changing cause and help provide the most amazing care anywhere.
All 3 weekends of college baseball here at Globe Life Field benefit Shriners Children with a portion of ticket sales going to a worthy cause that's dedicated to improving the lives of children around the world. To donate, scan the QR code on your screen or visit collegebaseballseries.com. A lot of young fans in attendance today. Just saw the Dizzy Bat races won by the young Texas Rangers fan as we start the top of the 4th. Florida State on top 4-2. But right now, the Tigers have found a way to scratch across the run at each of the last 2 innings, and Jackson Sanders is in a groove on the mound.
He's starting to get he's had a pretty good feel for that breaker, but he's settling in with it from a strike perspective and has been able to use that fastball a little bit now. It's a good looking play by the third baseman.
That's Eric Guevara.
Yeah, that's a good play.
And now 5 in a row retired by Sanders. First out of the 4th will bring up Chase Williams for Florida State. On the topic of strikeouts, Dax Whitney from Oregon State last night against Baylor punched out 17.
I saw that young man here last year, and he was electric. I mean, it's up to 100. And it's a really short arm action, and it gets on you in a hurry, and the breaker is, I mean, it's a curveball at 82. Not a slider, a curveball at 81, 82.
This ball is skied foul and out of play to Chase Williams, a player that's battled some injuries of his own in his past. Hitting 9th in the order today for Florida State. Top of the order waits on deck. That makes us out important here for Sanders. Would want Williams setting the table for Braden Dowd.
See Chase Williams taking a deep breath, moving on from that last pitch.
That ball hit out towards left. Terrell is over to make the catch. Front number 2.
I thought he caught more of that ball. I mean, it was still hit pretty hard, but when it first left his bat, I thought that ball had a chance to get down the left field corner. Maybe a double or get over Terrell's head, but putting a good swing on it. You saw him, he was kind of laughing and carrying on with the umpire. Then you saw him take a deep breath, flush that pitch in that moment away, and move on to the next one.
Dowd led the game off with a double that almost cleared the fence out in left center. Takes a strike here from Sanders, who faces Dowd for a 3rd time.
If you're Sanders, you've got a chance to gain some pitches back if you can manage to figure out a way to get Dowd out right here early. Meaning he threw so many pitches in the first. And he's got a chance to gain some back. And that thing is angry. That is a good looking late. It's so late. It's hard to see on your TV what I mean by that. But it just, it explodes late and breaks so late.
That time Dowd able to lay off.
Yeah, it's 2 different ones too. That was a little bit bigger sweeper, where the one before is a smaller, tighter slider that's late, and it's hard on those hitters because they don't recognize it early enough.
2-2, fisted towards center, right to Carter. And Jackson Sanders has officially settled into the game. We're headed to the bottom of the 4th inning. Seminoles on top by a pair over the Auburn Tigers. You're watching the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series from Globe Life Field.
Bowman Engineering and Consulting and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking, which included the occasional lunch meeting. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry, because you're more than a customer, we're more than a bank, and together we'll help put your business on solid financial footing. With comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, planning sessions whenever you need them. Here we collaborate. Here you grow. Naylor Industries and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking, focusing on their business needs with lightning speed. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry. Because you're more than a customer, we're more than a bank, and together we'll help put your business on solid financial footing with comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, a banking partner who is just as invested in your growth as you are. Here we collaborate. Here you grow.
Welcome back to Globe Life Field as we head to the bottom half of the 4th inning with the Auburn Tigers coming up to bat. Chasing 2 here at the bottom of the 4th inning. But Sanders now for Auburn settling in as a pitcher has held them there from the 1st inning to 4, and now Auburn has cut it in half to 4-2 lead for the Florida State Seminoles.
And the 4th inning of work for Bryson Moore. When the bat goes flying with the hands of Freilich towards the on-deck circle.
Well, right after you let go of a bat, they're always going to give you some stickum to make it either spray or wipe it on there or roll it on there just to make the glove stick a little bit more. As this, watch it come flying out of his hands. And then you're kind of like, well, huh. The on-deck guy is the one that's got to be on his toes, and then anybody in the bleachers, now they've got netting up high enough around that, you know, you protect everybody, which is a good thing. But the on-deck guy, he could be looking at the pitcher trying to get his timing. The bat come flying over there, and that'd be tough on him.
Grounded foul. Count 1-2. Freilich popped up at his first at-bat today. As a freshman last year, Freilich started 48 games behind the plate for the Tigers. And all 17 of Auburn's SEC wins came with Freilich wearing the gear. A swing and a miss and a strikeout for Moore. 3 in a row he's punched out, and 1 down on the 4th.
That's a filthy slider underneath the left-handed hitting Freilich, and you've got to be able to execute that play, because if you back it up and miss with it, stays middle in and doesn't have that last bit of bite. Watch this thing get underneath the barrel, just duck its head and start running towards the lower half of the strike zone. Freilich unable to make contact with it.
Now Brandon McCrane. That ball headed towards right, and it is going to drop in for a base hit right in front of Delamelier. Able to get that one off the fist into right field for his 2nd hit of the game.
Delamelier doing a good job. Made a break on this. Thought about trying to make a diving catch. Realized he wasn't going to be able to, and then became a second baseman or a catcher and just blocked it to keep it in front of him. But this is a good-looking swing by McCrane. He sees it deep, and this ball's hit hard enough on a line that it was, you know, just a handful of steps away from the right fielder being able to come in and catch it.
Now Logan Gregorio. Strike 1 for Moore. Talked about Florida State's players getting drafted by major league teams over the offseason. With Link Jarrett for Auburn. 9 former players currently on big league rosters. And there were 5 top 10 round picks this past season, a program record. Highest pick, Ike Irish, 19th overall this past offseason.
Yeah, he was good. We got a chance to see him last year. Yeah, I mean, that's an incredible talent.
Up the middle and through for a base hit for Gregorio. McCrane, the turn from around 2nd into 3rd, and those runners on the corners for the Tigers with 1 out.
It's a good looking at bat. Seeing the ball a little bit deeper now. Off of Moore. It's his ball. Gregorio hits his ball back up the middle. I thought for a second that Estes was going to be able to dive and make a great play, and in the meantime, McCrane does a great job, Brant, of recognizing once the ball was past the second baseman, he was going all the way to third base.
Tying run on base. Here comes Caden Combs. Drove in the Tigers' first run of the day. Back in the seconds. Hit towards short. Play at second for one. To first for two. And another Seminoles twin killing. The second 6-4-3 they have turned today.
This is a huge one right here with runners on first and third. Auburn picking up some momentum with the last at bat. Breaker away, right to the shortstop, field it, flip it to the bag, let Estes finish it in time. As you mentioned, an inning-ending double play to get him out of a jam.
Woodcraft and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking, creating a long-lasting relationship with open and quick communication. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry, because you're more than a customer. We're more than a bank, and together we'll work to help put your business on solid financial footing with comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, the support you need to reach your business goals faster. Here we collaborate. Here you grow. Possible Missions and their dedicated Amegy business banker work together to put the us in business banking by sharing the same values both in the office and out in the community. Now it's your turn with your own dedicated Amegy business banker with banking experience in your industry, because you're more than a customer. We're more than a bank, and together we'll help put your business on solid financial footing with comprehensive financing options, earned interest on your accounts, and yes, by being a true community partner. Here we collaborate. Here you grow.
The way the day started for Jackson Sanders, you thought he'd be in for a long day or a very short one, as the Seminoles tagged him for 4 runs, but since then, Ty, he's been locked in.
Well, it really came down to one pitch. But he had a chance to get out of that first inning with 1 run scored. He got 2 strikes on Frazier, and he went with a fastball and elevated, and he got the base hit, and it led to that bigger inning. But having said what, and leading into, or I'm sorry, referencing what you just said, since then, they've had a hard time, Florida State has, trying to figure out how to hit those 2 different type breakers that Sanders has been able to execute for strikes.
Of the 7 strikeouts in the game, and he has retired 7 in a row. Part of the order batting for the Seminoles in the 5th. Noah Sheffield to swing and a miss. 0-1.
That's the back foot breaker that he's using on the right-handed hitters. It starts in the strike zone and then disappears back towards their back foot. Just like that again. It's back-to-back ones. He did it to Sheffield his first at-bat and then made the mistake where he went, I think, through a different type pitch to him. And Sheffield was able to come up with a base hit.
He's got a piece. 3 straight sliders delivered by Sanders.
Well, if you're a right-handed hitter, you need to go up there with a shin protector, because you're gonna, the way that breaker's acting, you're gonna foul it down into your shin. We've already seen 3 of them today already.
Sheffield, Bailey, Fisher back for Florida State in the 5th. Shot foul. Count remains 0-2.
You got no chance keeping that ball fair. What I mean by that ball's running into those right-handed hitters so hard, you can't get the barrel inside that ball and get it in between the white lines when it's running into you, in off the plate.
Did he check his swing? No. Mark Winters says he went. Strikeout number 8 for Sanders.
They didn't even mess around. That was 5 of them in a row. That is just breaker in, breaker in, breaker in. First 2 he swung and missed, fouled 1 off, fouled 2 off, and they go right back in there again. Again, I'm sure if you're watching it, and if you're a Seminole fan, you go, why is he swinging at that? Well, that ball starts in the strike zone, in the hitting area, and then disappears from it.
Miles Bailey's been on a couple of times. Fastball at 92 for strike 1. Tigers with a exaggerated shift here against Bailey. Came back with a slider.
And a different speed. Right-handed sliders have been 78 to 81. That's that second breaker. That's more of a curve, a sweeper. That was at 75, and it really gets those left-handed hitters out front.
Able to lay off the fastball there. 1-2 to Bailey.
Tried to put a little too much on that. You don't have to in that situation. You can comfortably throw a 91-92 because that hitter was looking breaker.
That ball hit into the shift and right to McCrane.
You can almost say that McCrane's playing a rover position. He was so deep out to the right side, but it also shows you how hard this ball is scorched. Bailey, just a couple steps to his right, and he's able to catch the line drive.
Now Cal Fisher, who's 0 for 2 today. He's 1 for 8 this weekend. They're 1 for 6 with a run-driven inning against Michigan. Strike one. The baseball world lost a legend earlier today, Bill Mazeroski, who had that iconic Game 7 walk-off homer in the World Series in 1960. The Pittsburgh Pirates passed away earlier today.
Yep. I mean, we've all seen that clip 100 times if you're a baseball fan of the homer and people running around crazy, going crazy, and how big of a moment that was.
The shot heard around the world. Got him on the slider. Up to 9 on the day. Jackson Sanders has retired 10 straights. He's dealing, but his Auburn Tigers still trail by a pair as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Jackson Sanders making quick work of the Seminoles in the 5th, but it's still 4-2 Florida State here on FloCollege. College baseball has called Globe Life Field home over the past several years. 6th year hosting college baseball, a stretch that began back in 2021. More than 100 games played here since then. That includes the Big 12 tournaments, and a single-day attendance record was set a week ago today. More than 22,000 near the ballpark on opening weekend. The entire weekend drew close to 60,000 fans last week.
It was unreal. I was so, I mean, if you're a college baseball fan and fanatic like I am, it was beautiful. Look, I know it's a crazy adjective to throw around, but about a baseball game, but it was. There were so many fans. We see a ground ball out to Estes. There's so many things about that describe where we are as a sport in college baseball, the importance of it, the popularity of it, we're having it in this venue. I mean, there's so many things that are wrapped up in what that attendance last weekend showed in opening weekend. And it just, I'm telling you, baseball, college baseball is on the go.
After the ground out by Ballou, the 9-hole hitter Ryan Farber. And Farber takes a pitch low for ball 1. So again, the ballpark itself opened in May of 2020 during the pandemic. And it hosted the World Series that year between Tampa Bay and the LA Dodgers. But fans were not welcomed into the ballpark until that October. Very few were here to witness that World Series between the Rays and Dodgers.
Yeah, but the fact that, everybody else had closed down. I mean, the state of Texas, I think, had opened, 20% attendance? I can't remember what it was. Going back, and it was such a crazy time in our world during COVID. But you're right. I mean, it's 2 other teams playing a World Series in somebody else's ballpark. I don't know if that. I'm sure it's probably happened in baseball at some point in time in Major League Baseball. I guess.
There were 2 big league parks that were used as postseason sites during the pandemic. This one in Arlington and the other Petco Park in San Diego. There's a 1-out walk to Ryan Farber. He's on for the first time today, and that'll bring us back to the top of the order to Bristol Carter.
He got a guy on the bases who's a decent runner in Farber that, he can steal bases, a good reader of ball and dirt. I mean, you're Auburn now. You're down 2. You surely can go run your offense now if you so choose. If that means you want to run, hit and run, or whatever it may be, we're going to get a visit to the mound, and they do have the bullpen going.
Pitch count for Moore is up to 60, but this is his 3rd time through the order. And the last time he faced Carter, he took him deep.
Yeah, they're making a move. I thought his misses, that last hitter to Farber, weren't good. I mean, they were a little more erratic than what he's been. Something they saw enough of to think, all right, it's time to go to our pen, who's been really good for them. Their bullpen's been successful.
Cade O'Leary into the game for Florida State. A pitching change, her first one of the afternoon. And it comes with the tying run coming to the plate for Auburn. 4-2 Seminoles in the 5th. A look at the final numbers today for Bryson Moore, the Seminoles starter. Takes the game into the 5th. Struck out 3, giving up just 1 earned run. And walked 2, his second walk. Chasing him out of the game as we go to the top of the order to Bristol Carter and Cato Leary. And now for the Seminoles, making his second appearance in a Florida State uniform. His only other appearance, he was the winning pitcher against JMU last week. 4 strikeouts, but did give up a couple of earned runs in 2+ innings. A transfer to the program from Mississippi State. And faces Carter, who's 2 for 2 with a home run today.
You got to be pleased with Moore's performance. I mean, he came up, he induced a couple ground ball double plays when he had to with his two-seamer. You know, and again, I just think that the last hit of those to Farber, those misses were off the plate. They were erratic. They weren't quite as sharp. And look, these coaches know these guys better than anybody. So if they feel like, hey, let's make the move now, or this might lead to this, or he's had enough, or he could have had a more intensive bullpen in between. So many different things that come into factor on those decisions.
And Carter, 3 for 3 as he dumps a base hit into left. And the tying run is on the bases for the Tigers.
He catches his slider off the edge of the bat, but it shows you his bat speed, his bat strength, and his eye-hand coordination. He's a little bit off balance, and watch this right here. He's able to reach out there as that ball's off the plate away from him. He's able to extend his arms and his hands far enough out there to catch enough of it. Look at him. That's about a ball off the plate. Shows you how he can cover it up, and he drives it out to left field.
And now the sophomore from Meridian, Mississippi, Bub Terrell. A walk and a strikeout so far today. And ahead here against O'Leary, 1-0. In the air to left, it'll drift foul. Terrell, part of a very talented incoming freshman class from a year ago. And a good run producer, drove in more than 40 runs last year for Butch Thompson.
Last year, a year ago here, watch those freshmen. They had 3 of them in the lineup. And I remember going, man, that's risky to have freshmen playing. Why? You got Portal and this and that. And they ended up having a good year. Those guys ended up being big-time contributors. And now, I mean, obviously, they're back in it, here again. Now you're missing one of them with injury, but it's a lot of at-bats for a sophomore, a couple, 3-4 sophomores for Auburn.
Swing and a miss. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Terrell. Got him swinging. 2 outs.
Looked up on the board and it said it was an 88-mile-an-hour cutter. The ball looked like it had a little downward rotation to it. We get another look at this. Look at that thing go down. Most cutters go side to side. I'm going to describe that more as a slider with that kind of depth to it, kind of vertical to it.
I'm with you on the board just now on that pitch. Said a cutter, looked to be more of a slider to me there.
That might be more of a true slider. And again, now back in the day, a true slider was about an 8-inch break, but it had some vertical to it, resembling that right there. They're calling that a cutter, and it can be. I mean, we can call it wherever we want. I'm not going to argue with the board over there, but just from a perspective of it going down, most cutters don't have a whole lot of downward movement to it. Have some.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Oh, he just pulls a string on this one. This one, they went from 86 to 88-mile-an-hour cutter, sliders, however you want to say it, to an 80-mile-an-hour curveball.
Off the middle and through for a base hit. And coming around third is Farber. And this is a one-run game.
Talking about a big-time two-out hit for the Auburn Tigers. Navarro comes up. He hung the slider, the bigger or breaker, elevated it, and I mean he blasted just hard enough to get it through the infield in a moment they need. Watch, this ball hangs in the middle part of the plate. Does a great job of getting inside of. Barrel flushes it enough that he gets it through the middle of the infield. It's a huge two-out hit for the Auburn Tigers.
2 strike, 2 out single from Guevara. Now 4-3 as Fraley comes up. Ball 1.
I mean, it looked like O'Leary was going to come in and just put this thing to rest right then and there because he'd got ahead in the count and had control of 2 different types of breakers. But that one popped out of his hand maybe a little bit too early. And it sat and spun in the middle, spun right there in the middle part of the plate.
That was the first 2-out hit of the game for Auburn. And also the first hit with a runner in scoring position.
You're Fraley. You got to stay under control. You're looking in one spot. And we're going to get a pitching coach visit. I don't know if they're going to make a move or not, but what I was about to say is you're ahead in this count. You get the luxury of going, all right, I got first baseman holding the runner on, so I've got a little bit bigger crease to pull side. So if I want to, and in my power, which is pull side, if I want to at this moment, I'm going to go in there and look for that 88-mile-an-hour cutter running into me or a fastball that he misses in the middle, and I can use pull side right here from the gap side. And if I get it, I swing at it and maximize my barrel. If I don't, or I swing to it, whichever. But you got a moment right now that you can change the score, and you got to go up there with a plan of looking for a pitch, and he may not throw it in there, but you get an opportunity to look for it.
Fraley takes his cut, comes up empty. It's 2-1.
He just missed it too. It was an 87-mile-an-hour cutter, and it was just below his barrel. But he took that aggressive 2-0 swing at it.
That'll leave the count 2-2. The tying run, Carter over at third for the Tigers. Go ahead run, Guevara at first.
It's just 3 at-bats in a row that they've kept the ball in on Fraley. Now I'm curious if they're going to do the same. And now if you're Auburn, do you start the runner up?
That ball hit in the air to right, heading towards a line. A long run. It's going to drop in for a hit. And that'll give the Tigers the lead. The outfielders do collide. Rounding third is Fraley coming to the plate, and he is out. Look at a stretcher to an inside the park home run. There's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, we've got a lot here. We've got a Fraley's hurt, sliding into home plate with his shoulder. We had a collision in right field, and Estes got clipped, and he is in some severe pain with his leg. And then also the right fielder and him, they had to run such a long ways, Brent, to try to catch this ball. My goodness, just showing you the type of effort that the competitiveness to try to go catch this ball. And it is a collision at high speed for these 2 defenders. And now this is college sports where you've got both trainers from both teams now trying to help each other out. As we get a look at this, and I'm not sure I want, got him in the head, the right fielder in the head, and then Fraley tries to slide in head first, which you don't really want to do because they can do just that, lean on your shoulder. And it was more of a a fall slide, and I think Estes is still down, and it got him in the head too.
And while they sort this out, we'll step aside. Auburn on top 5-4 heading into the 6th inning from Arlington. And welcome back to Globe Life Field here in Arlington. Brent Freeman alongside Ty Harrington. A wild play just ended the bottom of the 5th inning. Chase Freilich, the Tigers hitter, hit a fly ball out to right field. Both Jace Estes and Bodie de la Meliere chasing it for the Seminoles end up in a collision. The ball did land fair, allowing the 2 runners on base to score. Freilich was trying to leg out an inside the park home run, and in his attempt to slide himself got a little banged up. Estes now being helped into the FSU dugout. And there is a new pitcher to the game now for the Tigers as well. Auburn on top of the first time, was down 4-0, now leading 5-4, scoring 3 in the bottom of the 5th. And Jet Johnston in now for Auburn after Jackson Sanders gives Butch Thompson 5 innings, and he was dynamite after a troublesome first.
Yeah, he was, and he settled in with that breaker and became dominant with it. I think his pitch count was high enough, you know, from early in the game. That first inning made it set him back, but now that they've taken a lead, run another guy back out there, get to their bullpen where they feel like that maybe matches up with this part of the lineup. And look, we don't know the extent of everybody got off the field, right? Everybody got up, were able to walk off the field, which is a huge sign for everybody. But it was a tremendous collision between the right fielder and the second baseman, as we see strike 1 from Johnston on that fly ball. And you know, look, I think everybody's going to be okay. I think there's going to be some bumps and bruises, but it was a real collision.
Hunter Carnes leading off the 6th here for Florida State against Johnston. In the air to center. And Brewster Carter passing for the first out. Sanders retired the final 10 Seminole hitters he faced. No runs or hits given up after the first inning. They get the ball handed off to Johnston, the junior right-hander, a transfer to the program a couple of years ago from Texas A&M. In his second year with the Tigers, 11 appearances a year ago. This is second of this season. And now he'll face Gabe Frazier.
And as you would have it for Florida State, you got de la Meliere coming up next, who was involved in that, and then Estes is scheduled after him. Of the two, he looked like he might have gotten the.
Farber, nice diving play, throw to first, but it pulls Combs off the bag, and Frazier is on. with 1 out in the 6th.
Now Frazier doing what he does best, going the other way with a hard hit ground ball. It looked like Farber was going to come up with an ESPN top 10 plays. He goes full extension dive, gets to the ball, gets to his feet in time. So we get another look at this. This is a big league play right here. Full extension on the hop, gets to his foot, but you got to know, that little guy in the back of your head's got to tell you exactly where you're trying to throw it. And because he was positioned up the middle a little bit more, Brett, I think it threw him off as to where he was throwing it to the first baseman.
So Delamolier is batting here for the Seminoles, but I don't think that's Estes on deck. On the outside corner, strike 1 of the slider from Johnston.
No, it's not. It's a pinch hitter.
And that's Carter McCulley. Looks like he'll take the place of Estes.
I think they've moved somebody else out on deck now.
Yeah, they just changed from McCulley to Kelvin Paulino. Nice job by Frederick to smother that ball. Again, he's one of the top defensive catchers in the country on the Buster Posey Award watch list. Rated as one of the top 5 catchers nationally coming into the season. With all these breaking balls we've seen from Auburn pitchers, he has to be on top of his game.
He does, but I will say this. when they were the left-handed breakers act a little bit different. They were more sweepers. You could kind of turn your glove down a little bit quicker, get to it a little bit more in time. And when they throw in those back foot breakers, right-handed hitters, he was in position to catch him. But Johnston's ripping this breaker right now. It's got quite a bit more downward movement to it, a little bit quicker.
And near first strike, and a fastball at 93, 2-2 to Delamolier. On the ground towards third. Now we'll go foul. Seminoles scoring all 4 of the runs in the first inning. Scoreless. Since then, just 1 hit since the first. That was the infield single from Frazier moments ago. Tigers are running both the second and third, and then 3 in the 5th to take the lead.
A little cat and mouse game going on right now. With Frazier at first base, I think they suspect he's going to try to take off on the pitch.
Got him swinging on the breaking ball. Second out of the inning and the first punch out for Johnston.
There's that breaker in the dirt. It's got a lot of more downward movement to it than what Sanders was throwing with that big sweeping breaking ball. Get another look at this. Yeah, that starts right out the kneecaps and then runs straight down into the ground. It never really got above the kneecaps.
So here's Kelvin Paulino Jr. in the place of Jace Estes. And the first pitch, he takes a breaking ball for ball 1. A highly touted product from Amegy Academy. One of the top rated third basemen of the country before signing at Florida State. And this just his 4th at-bat of the year. Did see him come to the game yesterday against Michigan. And ahead against Johnson 3-0.
You don't know. You tell your players to always be ready when they show up to the ballpark. Put your spikes on. If your name's not in the lineup, keep yourself ready all the time. You never know when somebody's going to get hurt or when your coach is going to call on you. I know it's hard. It's redundant when coaches say, be ready, stay focused in the dugout. The reality is this is it. This is part of it. This is part of the reason, when your teammates gets hurt and you get cast into it.
Well, there's that cat and mouse game you're referencing earlier, Ty.
Sometimes pitchers will do it every once in a while when they're getting ready to throw a buried breaker. They're trying to hold them in there a little bit longer.
Can't check his swing. Fastball at 92. The count fills. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Paulino.
Yeah, he was looking breakers, I think is what he was looking for. The first baseman, Beatty's going to play behind the run at first to create a little bit more defensive coverage to the right side. People say, well, why you do it? Well, the runner's off on the pitch anyway, so there's no reason really to hold him. To get back there, covered for that reason. You just saw that check swing and went towards the dugout, but get back there behind the runner, cover some ground.
On the ground to third, vacuumed up by Guevara. Throw on to first, and it's off the glove of Combs, and it gets away. Frazier will put on the brakes at third, and the inning continues for Florida State.
Well, Guevara made a great play. He comes crashing in on this ball. This ball is smashed right down into that dirt with topspin. He does a great job of coming in one-handed. It took a little bit off his throw, but it looked like to me, Brant, that the ball got to Combs in the air, and he just took his eyes off of it ever so slightly. You can see him, pointing beating his chest, going, "Hey, my bad, my bad." And well, that's a tough break. You got a chance if you're Auburn. You just took the lead. Third baseman makes a good play, coming in on a ball. And not able to handle it at first base, but one of those moments too now. Florida State's got runners on where you can, you got to be careful or aware of if you're Auburn of a first, third steal or double steal type play. But you also got to remind yourself as a pitcher, hey, if I make a quality pitch here, I can still get out of this inning and keep the lead where it is.
Carter McCulley, who initially was in the on-deck circle in place of Estes, then got pulled back for Paulino, is now the one pinch running for Paulino at first. This is a massive out for Johnston. Top of the order awaiting on deck for Florida State with the heavy hitters Dowd, Sheffield, and Bailey. And he's ahead of Williams 0-2.
Boy, Johnston just attacks his changeup because this ball bounced. And then Williams has got good strike zone recognition. That shows you the late action on that changeup. Now, if you're Florida State over the next pitch or two, if you get a chance with 2 strikes, would be the moment you would probably try to run a first and third offense.
Able to check his swing, and now McCulley will head over to second, swiping the bag.
Yeah, that was a delay steal. They were trying to get him to throw to second and then create 2 more throws to the plate, 1 to second, 1 back to home, and try to score a run from third base. It's the old delay steal. Just happened that the ball was in the dirt. Auburn deciding at that point they're not going to throw down to second. They're going to concede and give him a chance. They think they've got a chance to strike him out here and or find a way out with 2 strikes against Williams.
Again, Williams able to lay off.
Got him to chase the changeup and the 0-1 count. Now Williams has been able to work this count to 2-2. If you're looking for a swing miss, there's a chance that Johnston will go back to his changeup.
A phenomenal at-bat here by Williams, falling behind 0-2. The count now full. And if he can reach on a walk, that would load the bases for down.
Yeah, and you got a base open, so if you're Johnston, you got to be thinking it. But what it does do, if you do that and he doesn't chase, what you just mentioned brings you back to the top of the order.
And that'll load him up. Chase Williams draws a 2-out walk. And back at the top of the order we go with Braden Dowd coming to the plate here for Florida State.
Well, throughout all of this, Florida State, it looked like, you know, you're going to come out of there with nothing. An unusual collision happens in right field. You lose the lead 5-4. Now an innings kept alive with a defensive mistake. And then if you're Auburn, you got to keep reminding yourself, as we're going to see the pitching coach come out and visit with Johnston, you got to keep reminding yourself, Brent, you're one pitch, one play away from getting out of here still with a 1-run lead that you went into this inning with, even though it seemed like it's been 30 minutes of a lot of different things in between.
Ryan Hetzler getting loose in the Auburn bullpen. These Florida State fans sensing maybe something big here with Dowd coming up to the plate. Johnston retired 2 of the first 3 batters he faced. But that error on Combs at first opening the door here for the Seminoles. A walk to Williams and the bases are juiced. And Johnston will stay in to face Dowd.
It's got the crowd on both sides up now. Auburn trying to get out of it. Florida State trying to take advantage of it.
Ball 1 outside.
The time with the bases loaded as a hitter, if the pitcher goes into a ball situation, you know that he starts to bring more of the plate in on each of the pitch, so you get to be able to a little more aggressive.
Fastball taken there by Dowd. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You're talking about a quality fastball on the outer half of the plate and a 1-0 count with the bases loaded.
Takes again. 1-2.
I think I'd have taken that one too. That's an 85-mile-an-hour fastball, meaning it was a strike. That's a tough pitch to hit. I mean, that is back-to-back edge pitches that Johnson was able to execute.
In the air, left field, Terrell. And the Seminoles leave them loaded. Johnson out of the jam, and the lead remains intact for the Auburn Tigers. A big threat from Florida State, but nobody comes home. To the bottom of the 6th we go. 5-4 Auburn over FSU. weekend long, Shriners Children's is challenging fans to see which team can raise the most money to help improve the lives of children around the world. Donations of any amount help Shriners Children's empower the extraordinary. Donations of $100 or more earn an exclusive Shriners Children's t-shirt. To move your team up in the fundraising leaderboard, scan the QR code on your screen or visit shrinersshowdown.org to donate and support Shriners Children's today. And we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Lead still intact for Auburn, 5-4. And up at the plate, Brandon McCrane to lead things off against O'Leary. First pitch, drills one to left, and that is off the bottom of the wall. McCrane, first pitch he sees, bangs out a triple for Auburn to start the 6th.
The dimensions on the field come into play here. The way the left field wall kind of goes back into left field. The left fielder was getting close. Had it been a rounded fence like most fields are, I think he goes and makes this catch. Now this ball was smashed, but see how the fence comes out that way by that Bailey Galen sign, and it made the left fielder hold up just a little bit. That little bit of hold up allowed the ball to get to the fence.
Infield comes in for Florida State as Logan Gregorio comes up here for the Tigers. The last 2 hits for Auburn have been triples. In fact, the last 2 batters. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gregorio. There are some defensive changes, by the way, for Florida State. This ball hit to center. Chase Williams tracks it down, stumbling into the wall, but it will bring home McCrane to make it 6-4 Tigers.
Well, let's unpack the at-bat for such a tremendous at-bat from Gregorio, who goes down and gets after this ball, knowing that a fly ball to the outfield scores a run. Does a great job of getting down to it, flexibility in the box. And then the second piece is the catch of Chase Williams. This is an unreal catch. This ball is smashed. Look at this. He is opened up full running, catching it over his left shoulder like a receiver in a football game.
And now it's Caden Combs here for Auburn. Gabe Frazier for the Seminoles has moved from 3rd to 2nd, taking Jace Essens's place in the infield. And Carter McCulley, who came in as a pinch runner at the top of the inning, now the one playing at 3rd for Florida State. And also a new right fielder, John Stutzer, in place of Bodie DeLaMoliere.
Well, there were a lot of people on the Auburn side excited about finding a way to wiggle out of that last half inning with Florida State with the bases loaded after it had a defensive mistake. But this young man right here might have been the happiest because he was the one that didn't come up with a catch at first base that would have ended the inning on the ground ball to third base. And I promise you, you know, you can think what you want, and oh well, that, you know, everybody, he was relieved that it didn't hurt his team.
A swing and a miss and a strikeout for O'Leary. Combs goes down fishing. 2 outs in the inning. Brandon McCrane tripling on the first pitch of the inning. Later came on with a sac fly from Gregorio, strikeout of Combs. Here we are, bases empty, 2 outs in a 2-run game. And Kay Ballou looking to reach for the first time, 0 for 2 with a pair of ground outs for Auburn. No balls and 2 strikes. The 0-2 from O'Leary. Got him swinging. And the throw to first secures the outs. Back-to-back strikeouts for O'Leary, but the Tigers add the lead. The sac flies put Auburn on top by 2. We head to the 7th. 9th-ranked Tigers on top of number 16 Florida State, 6-4 on FloCollege. The Nebraska Cornhuskers in the building, awaiting the end of this game before they take on Kansas State, the finale of our triple header. Earlier today, Michigan, 8-5 winners over the Louisville Cardinals. Both teams 1-1 at Arlington this weekend. Auburn currently on top here by a pair, 6-4. And again, all of the coverage live here on FloCollege, the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series and Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic. Softball being played on FloCollege as well. Lots of softball and baseball coverage here on Flo live for you as we go to the top of the 7th. Auburn on top by 2, and Jet Johnson staying in the game and facing the heart of the Seminoles order. Sheffield, Bailey, and Fisher for FSU in the 7th.
Johnson doing a great job last half inning when they weren't able to come up with the defensive play to close out the inning, to keep his poise, stay aggressive, and make quality pitches.
Ground ball to third. Guevara, and there's one out. And you may have noticed that Butch Thompson has made a defensive change over at first. Caden Combs had that error that opened the door for a potentially big inning for Florida State in the 6th. And so the new first baseman out there for the Tigers is Bingaman, taking the place of Caden Combs. Ethan Bingaman, a freshman from Corona, California.
Well, you opt there once in a while as a coach. I mean, you got 8 outs now left, but you're down to the last third of the game. But your best, you got a 2-run lead. Go get it with your best defensive team. And Combs had 2 at bats where I think he struck out in the last one and did get a ground ball RBI early in the game. And that ball got the umpire in the shoulder, knocked his mask off and his clicker out of his pocket or his hand.
You also saw the glove come flying off the hand of Freilich here.
And that ball bounced about 55 feet. Yeah, it did come flying off, didn't it? It shows you how lightly he's got his hand set up in there. He had a lot of equipment flying a lot of different ways on a 55-foot, pitch.
Bailey's been on twice, a couple of times for Florida State. Here takes a strike. It's 1-2. Scored one of the 4 runs of the first inning for the Seminoles, who have not scored since. They've only had one hit since the first inning.
Well, he rattled that ball on that line drive to the second baseman in his last at bat.
It hit right into that exaggerated shift of the Tigers. They've got it on again. Left side of the infield is wide open here for Bailey. He goes that way in the air to left. Terrell, long run, and he makes the catch short of the warning track. 2 outs here in the 7th.
After hitting a couple balls lined to the right side, this pitch seemed to get on him a little bit. It's a routine fly ball out to left field, allowing Terrell to settle underneath it. One thing about Johnston, when he has to make a pitch, you remember he got down 1-0 and with the bases loaded last half inning, and he dialed up on the edge fastball way, and then came back with a changeup right off the top of that one. When he's had to come up with big pitches, he's been able to run that fastball on the edge.
Now Cal Fisher up for Florida State, hitless with a couple of strikeouts today. Facing Johnson for the first time. In fact, he was the last batter Sanders faced and struck him out. Well, how about the job today by Sanders after that troublesome first inning?
Yeah, just tremendous.
And then he was lights out.
I don't know what his swing miss ratio was on that breaking ball, but it was high. I don't know. I think I remember he elevated one to hit a ball back up the middle. I mean, there was some contact with some other ones, but not a whole lot of barrel contact.
Sanders finishing with 9 strikeouts. Jake Marciano for Auburn yesterday, 6 innings of 2-hit baseball, struck out 8 of his own. In the turf, 3-1 to Fisher. Tag runner waits on deck, and Hunter Carnes for Florida State. That's fouled back. This is the first time in a game the Seminoles have been up against it. You look back at how the season started, 5-1 winners over JMU, then a run rule in game 2 of that series, a run rule in the midweek win over Jacksonville, handled Michigan with fair ease yesterday, and here they are down by a couple late in the game. Got a piece.
Battling with 2 strikes. It was ball 4, but he can't. He thinks his breaker's going to come back in, and I mean, as a hitter, what you don't want to do is take a call strike 3 right now and just battle, make contact, make it a tough at bat. And it was going to be one of the rare walks that they've given up.
In the air to right. Cade Ballou, can of corn for him, and that's a 1-2-3-7 for Jet Johnston. Time to stretch the Globe Life. Auburn with some key pitching and clutch hitting on top over Florida State, 6-4 here at Globe Life Field. And we head to the bottom of the 7th inning. 6-4, Auburn on top of the new pitcher on the mountaintop here for Florida State, Cole Stokes. Making his second appearance of the season, first one here in Arlington. A couple of strikeouts so far in the year. In his limited time on the mound, a junior from Redondo Beach, California. Transferred to the program from the University of Oregon out of the Big Ten. And he will face hitters 9, 1, and 2 in the 7th. Farber, Carter, and Terrell due to hit for Auburn. Tigers have scored 6 unanswered, down 4-0 before you blinked in the first inning. Auburn, though, scratching across a run each in the 2nd and 3rd. Took the lead with a 2-run triple in the 5th. Part of a 3-run frame. And got another run added to the lead in the 6th inning. As Farber leads things off here for the Tigers. Scored one of those 3 runs for Auburn in the 6th.
There's some swing miss from Stokes. When you go back to some of his stats and you look from 2025, I think you start looking at 20 1/3 innings with 39 punch outs. So it's good stuff. As you mentioned, was with Oregon, which congratulations to Coach Wazakowski, won his 300th game at Oregon last night as a head coach. Had a chance to exchange text messages with him earlier today.
That's a program that's played in Arlington before as well.
Yeah, and I bet they'll be back. I mean, they loved it. I mean, when they were here, they talked about it often enough.
Three and 1 to Farber. Count fills at a fastball at 97 from Stokes.
Yeah, 97 with a little bit of sink at the end of it. Moving left to right. Farber taking all the way right there, trying to find and earn his way on the first base any way he can.
And he does there, his second walk of the game. Farber, known for being an on-base machine at his previous stop at Texas State. Leads off the 7th with a walk. That'll take us back to the top of the Tigers' card to Bristol Carter.
Well, the beauty of being patient is you could have swung it to 3-1. Okay, you hit a line drive to the second baseman, so you take it, put the pitcher in the full count, being patient, he throws ball 4. So you are 90 feet plus right now because of being patient and having a great at-bat.
And Farber will take off for second. Looked to be emotioned at the pitch anyway. Once the ball crawled away from Carnes, Farber just jogged in.
Your Auburn, 6 defensive outs left after this half inning. You got a runner at second, nobody out. You're at the top of the order. Carter obviously has hit a homer. He's got 2 singles ahead of him. You're letting him swing to try to move it to the right side. They're bunting him. That tells you a little bit about what they think late in the game. They feel like, hey, if we can get one more run in, then maybe that helps us secure a victory, because you got a red hot leadoff hitter right now, and it's like he's bunting again. I'm assuming now he's taken all the way, but
see what Butch Thompson decides to do here. Bunt is showed, and that's a 4-pitch walk. Back-to-back walks for the Tigers opens the inning. 2 on and nobody out. And Carter's been on all 4 times today.
Yeah, he was taken all the way. He was just showing him bunt. The ball didn't look like it was too far off the plate. But now, before I get into it, I'm going to have a discussion, and this could be a couple things. One, to talk about getting back in the strike zone, but it also is going to probably be about if they decide to bunt, let's make sure we all know where we're supposed to be and what we're going to do. Now they're making a change.
Ben Barrett and Kevin Meebill have been getting loose for Florida State. And let's see which one it is. And this is going to be Meebill. The left-hander will come in for Florida State. Tigers threatening to add the lead. 2-1, nobody out, heart of the order, batting. You're watching the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series on FloCollege. A very short outing for Cole Stokes. Faced two batters, walked them both, Ryan Farmer and Brewster Carter. And with that, Link Jarrett has gone to the bullpen again. Kevin Meebill now for Florida State, making his second appearance in an FSU uniform. Started his career at FAU, and then last year at Division II Barry University in the state of Florida. And inherits a tough situation here. 2-on, nobody out. And facing Bub Terrell.
Yeah, I was curious as to what they were going to do. They went to a left-left matchup. I was a little bit surprised the first baseman, Bailey, was playing behind the runner when he came set. But with them going to that left-left matchup, they probably gave Terrell an option. Hey, do you feel all right bunting off of this, or you want to swing away? The first pitch, as everybody saw, he tried to sacrifice bunt down the third baseline.
Swing and a miss, 0-2.
And then he green lights him. And he comes up empty on a big swing. Now obviously you X out the bunt.
And Meebill got him on 3 pitches. Terrell strikes out for the 3rd time today.
This is a breaker off the plate, obviously. Just doing everything he could just to try to make contact, shorten up. That ball's a good foot and a half off the plate. That's a good breaker. Once he got that barrel started, he couldn't stop it.
Yeah, that was the defensive swing by Terrell, just trying to foul it off as Kavar comes up. The order that Butch Thompson has put together has his batters alternating sides of the plate 1 through 9. You don't have a righty or lefty hitting in 2 consecutive spots.
Well, obviously, that's a balance a lot of coaches would love to have. It rarely works out that way unless you've got a handful of switch hitters. Then it can work out that way. But you don't want a pitcher to get a feel for one pitch all the time.
That ball drilled to left and down for a base hit. Farmer will stop at third. Guevara smokes his second base hit of the day, and the bases are loaded for the Tigers.
Well, he hit it so hard, Brent, nobody could move. The runner, Farber, going from second to third, had to make sure the ball was down and was going to hit in front of the left fielder. I mean, that ball was lashed out to left field on a line, so everybody couldn't advance any further than 90 feet because it was hit so hard.
Last time Fraley was up, hit a 2-run triple that he tried to leg out and into an inside the park home run. Got thrown out at the plates. If you recall, he got a little banged up in his effort to get home. Able to stay in the game. Takes ball 1 here from Meebill.
Well, unfortunately for the Seminoles, the 2 other players that were in that same play that collided in right field, Estes and Laura,
DeLamelier, yep, pulled out for the game now.
Yeah.
It looked like DeLamelier took the brunt of it.
Well, Estes is the one that looked like his leg and got it in the head too.
1-2 is high. Fraley lays off. If Meebill can get him to hit a ground ball, can trust that defense behind him. They've turned 2 double plays in the game. And to left, Farber will tag. He's coming home. Here's a throw, and it is offline. But now the Seminoles have Carter in a rundown and tag him out. But Farber's run scored before the third out was recorded. And Auburn has a 3-run lead at the end of 7. We head to the 8th. The Seminoles have some work to do, trailing 7-4, trying to avoid their first loss of the season. A look at the story of the game. Florida State's offense all came in the first, scoring 4 runs against starter Jackson Sanders, who then settled into the game, wound up going 5 innings, striking out 9. And Seminole starter Bryson Moore carrying the game into the 5th for Florida State before turning things over to the bullpen. At the top of the order, Bristol Carter, productive day for the Tigers, been on all 4 times, including a home run off of Moore that came back to the 3rd. And Chase Fralick, the go-ahead hit in the 5th, 2-run triple. And since then, the Tigers have tacked on 2 more. They lead 7-4, heading into the 8th, and still Jet Johnson on the mound for head coach Butch Thompson.
Sticking with him. I mean, he's been able to wiggle out of a couple of jams that he's gotten into, or his defense got him into one of them. He's been able to work his way out. Well, that ball was you talking about getting in a hurry. Watch how he has to almost catch this like a catcher. Watch this right here. Watch the third baseman. The ball's lined right in. Watch him lean over, create a little space for it to go in that glove. Good looking play. That ball, that's a tougher play than what it looks like. That That line driver's probably hooking a little bit too.
Carnes at a laser. Gravatt right in position. And a quick out here in the 8th. Brings up Frazier. 2 more hits today for Gabe Frazier. After 3 against the Wolverines yesterday, takes the first pitch inside from Johnston.
I got him.
Yeah, that did get a piece of him. And Frazier will take his base on for the 3rd time today.
Got him. I guarantee that thing got him right on the top of the toe. It takes him a little while nowadays to get all the protective gear off of them. They go from one set of protective gear to another. I think that break right off the toe.
Off that left foot. And Frazier to first. And Stutzer batting for the first time. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. DeLamiere, after the collision with Estes, did come to the plate in the next half inning. Struck out, and that's when Link Jarrett decided to make a change in the outfield.
I think that shows DeLamiere's. I mean, that's just toughness. I mean, his will to try to stay in that game. It was. Both those guys ran a long ways and at a high speed. Obviously, I think they're all going to be okay, but it.
The ball's into the air towards shallow left, and Terrell, a long run, losing his hat, makes the catch. Covers a lot of ground to record out number 2.
He did. He came a long ways, and sometimes when you do that, you'll overrun it. Even Farber, the shortstop, turned his back to the infield and took off like an outfielder running after a ball in the outfield, because he didn't know if Terrell would be able to get there. Watch the shortstop turn his back and take off. He takes off running. Terrell comes running straight in, and what you got to do is you got to tell that infielder ball, 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 so that there isn't a collision.
And here's McCulley's first at bat. Kelvin Paulino pinch hit for Estes in the 6th. McCulley pinch ran for Paulino after he reached, and since taken over at third base for the Seminoles. One ball and 1 strike.
Those between fly balls like that can get dangerous when they're between the shortstop and the left fielder, vice versa, second and right. When you teach those outfielders, if they don't think they can get there, to scream at the infielders, take it, take it, take it. Because now what? They can pull it into 4th gear and really run after it and feel comfortable diving for a ball. You watch them in the big leaguers, and those guys make diving catches. Watch the outfielders. They're telling them, they're communicating with them to take it, take it, take it, to give them a comfort level to aggressively go after the ball.
McCulley trying to extend the inning. As Johnston will reset on the mound. Came in relief of Jackson Sanders in the 6th inning. Has held his lineup scoreless. Two. On the ground, a short by Farber into left. And McCulley, a 2-out base hit, will bring up the tying run.
Stayed with the slider just long enough. Pull it to the left side and get enough of the barrel as he pulls it into left field for a base hit. And you know this going in this game. We all know this. There's no quitting these guys. They got a lot of pride in a good baseball team. Look at the length of the arc of that barrel. This is a 6'5" body frame with those long arms. That barrel stays in there long enough. It's him a base knock.
Kind of feeling this might be the last batter Johnston faces with the top of the order looming on deck. Big out here for him as Williams comes up and takes a strike.
That pitch right there may be his most successful pitch to left-handed hitters. Has been that fastball. I think that pitch is off the edge. I think it starts on the edge, and with that run to it, it runs off. Yeah, it runs off the plate. The umpire calls it a strike.
That'll get away from Fralick. Puts runners at second and third now for Florida State as both Frazier and McCulley advance.
Both teams now have had moments where we've said throughout all this, you got runners all over the place, RBI potential and opportunities, but the defense and the pitcher has been able to be one pitch away from getting out of the inning. And Johnston finds himself right back in that spot again with Williams again.
That's they're still getting loose here for Auburn. Slicing foul, 1-2.
Yeah, last time Williams took the walk, I think that loaded the bases, but again had runners on second and third in a full count. Was down in the count 1-2, patiently made his way back and took the walk and gave the top of the order a chance. Finds himself right back in a 1-2 count again.
Fights off another pitch.
Almost fought off his third base coach. He was way up the line, communicating with the runner at third, trying to give him as much space as he could, because if the third baseman's playing way off the bag, that allows the runner to get off further in case of ball in dirt. Doesn't have to go to the screen now. And their coach was way up in the front of the box.
Here's the 1-2, and Williams with a take on a fastball low.
You gotta love the animation from Williams. He was talking that the ball's down. You gotta make it up, make it up. He's using his hand gestures, and then he'll take this deep breath, which is what he did the last at bat. Like a lot of hitters, he'll take that deep breath, clear his mind, moving on to the next pitch.
And Williams circling around the batter's box. A lot to think about here. And it gets away from Fralick. Here comes the run for Florida State.
He can go to second.
And now Williams will keep running all the way to second. The tying run now in scoring position for the Seminoles.
Now this game just goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So it's a strike three. Swing miss. Got him to chase. Got him to do what you want him to do. It's strike three. Fralick's got to get to his knees. You can't backhand that ball. You got to chest that ball up, keep it in front of you, and don't reach out there and try to catch it with your glove. And he knows that, and you just got to block it, get out front, and then hopefully throw Williams out. But now the ball goes all the way to screen. Williams alertly sees how far that throw was going to be, all the way from the backstop to second. And now gets to second base, and that's going to be the end of the night for Johnston.
That is it. We go back to the top of the order for the Seminoles, and Johnston's going to the dugout. Coming into the game, Ryan Hetzler. 2 on, 2 out. With Braden Dowd coming up here for Florida State. You're watching the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series on FloCollege. Ryan Hetzler to the game now for Auburn, facing Braden Dowd. 7-5 Tigers lead. Chase Williams, a tying run at second for the Seminoles. McCulley at third. And Dowd looks at a fastball at 94 to even the count of 1-1.
Yeah, it's real stuff, Brand. I mean, it's a above average fastball with great life to it. It's going to have a curveball slider off the top of it. And that is pitch is what he likes to use on the left-handed hitters is his changeup. It acts a lot like the movement on his fastball.
Hetzler on the National Stopper of the Year award watch list. Making his second appearance of the year. His other one came in a clutch situation in the extra inning win over Youngstown State last week at Plainsman Park. Struck out the side and got the win. Big rip there from Dowd, 3-2.
Yeah, Dowd saw inside line what he thought was a fastball and ended up being a slider. He took a massive rip trying to change the score for his team, which you can do when you get into that kind of count.
On the ground at first, scooped up by Bingaman. And a big time spot there for Hetzler as he comes through. Florida State settles for the 1 run. And the 2-run lead remains intact for the Tigers. To the bottom of the 8th we go. 7-5 Auburn here at Globe Life Field. Throughout the remainder of the weekend, the Mary Nutter Collegiate Classic available here on FloCollege, one of the biggest annual softball tournaments in the country. And of course, the remainder of the Amegy Bank College Baseball Series this weekend and next. Boy, what a field next weekend. Arizona State, Mississippi State, Tennessee, Texas A&M, top-ranked UCLA, and Virginia Tech. All here on FloCollege and live. As we go into the bottom of the 8th in a 2-run game. New pitcher in now for the Seminoles is Ben Barrett, one of the team captains, 6'4" right-hander out of Orlando. His job to keep this a 2-run game. He'll face Brandon McCrane, Logan Gregorio, and Caden Combs. Or actually, a big opponent going to be Bingaman hitting for Combs in this inning.
Florida State, I'm going to be the professor of obvious. You've got to hold it right here. I mean, that's your best chance. They've got their best guy on the mound on the back end with Hetzler. Auburn does. And so you need to hold them right here to give yourself a chance to tie it up and or maybe win the game late. And if you're Auburn right now, even though McCrane, 3 hits on the day, you'd love to see him come up with a way to get on base. And then I think they go to a small game at that point, trying to extend the lead to 3. That's got to be at least in the mindset of Coach Thompson.
2-0 to McCrane. Pumps in a strike at a fastball at 90. McCrane a single in the second and fourth, and a leadoff triple. Back in the sixth inning, leading off an inning for the third time tonight. Leadoff man has reached 3 times for the Tigers. Butch Thompson pointing out that is the key to their offense, to have to get the leadoff man on.
All the coaches love to have that leadoff guy on, but you're right. They like to advance them. They're not afraid to bunt, run. And no other time in the game right now than they'd love to get their leadoff guy on than right now.
There is a big part of the Florida State lineup due in the ninth. Auburn would love some more insurance here. Full count to McCrane. Bounces away from Carnes, and McCrane will reach first easily.
It's rare when you see back-to-back innings or half innings where a team swings at strike 3 and the catcher unable to block it. Now, it tells you a little bit about the breakers and how hard they're ripping these things. That breaker bounces on the edge of the plate. McCrane's easily going to make it because it goes all the way back to the screen. He'd see him trying to reach out too with his hand, trying to catch it, and instead of going to his knees, I think he thought that ball was going to hop a little bit or bounce a little bit closer to his glove.
Gregario pops up the first pitch he sees. Fisher backpedals for the first out.
He opted not to bunt. Let him swing away, and he goes after the first pitch. Pops it up into shallow left field. Fisher does a good job of breaking back and going and getting camped underneath it and making the catch.
Ethan Bigeman batting for the first time today. For the year, 3 for 10. He takes the first pitch out of the zone for ball 1. Grounded foul. Hailing from Corona, California. Same hometown as Ryan Hetzler. Went Corona High School too. Has been a high school baseball factory. His high school team had a couple of top 10 picks and 3 first-rounders this past summer.
Yeah, not too bad, right? It's been fun to see, from my perspective, maybe not the West Coast perspective, that there's been an influx of California kids coming to the SEC to play. I think a lot of it's got to do with the runner going on that. He's going to get all the way third base because he was off on the pitch.
So the single from Bigeman. McCrane advances all the way to third. And our runners in the corners here for Auburn.
Yeah, he was off on the pitch. He was trying to get out maybe on a breaker, and he did. Bigeman does a good job of pulling it to the left side. Now you got some options if you're Auburn. The bottom half of your order. Left-hand hitter, another look at that breaker. He was able to stay on it just long enough to pull it into the right side. I think McCrane was guessing breaker too, and he had a good jump.
Another ball that gets away from Carnes, and McCrane scores to make it 8-5 Auburn.
Well, back to wild pitches. Led the inning off on strike 3. Now another wild pitch. Allowing the run to 90 feet to advance. It hit off the heel of his glove, and then ricocheted over his right shoulder. Carnes, that is, the catcher.
Well, another one that gets away, and 90 more feet for Bigeman.
He was set up on the other side of the plate, and he pulls this pitch. Barrett does all the way across the plate, so he's got to go a long ways to try to catch it. Full extension. Now, I think he could have catch, but it's a long ways for those catchers to stretch out and try to make that catch on the pitch. Either way, it's a 90-plus advancement, and the third one this inning that we've seen.
Ben Barrett trying to settle down here. A couple of wild pitches. Actually 3 now in the inning. Infield drawn in as Ballou cuts and misses, runs the count to 1-2.
Yeah, if you're Ballou right now, he kind of hurt his elbow swinging, or his hand. I saw him after he swung. He started shaking it, and I couldn't tell if he was holding his elbow or his hand. He's giving his coach the thumb up. I think he just kind of hyperextended that funny bone area a little bit. It was an aggressive swing. He got full extension to it. But he started shaking his arm.
Anthony Sanderson, the team trainer, now talking with Ballou right now.
Now here's the swing. Obviously, he swings and misses. See, he grabbed his right elbow right after that. They're going to let him stay in the game. And so what he needs to do is he's going to choke up a little bit, shorten up in mindset. You got to get this ball in play. Whatever you do, somehow, some way, as a hitter, you're thinking, get it in play. And that's going to be strike 3 on the bunt. Maybe they didn't feel, I don't think they felt comfortable letting him swing. That's just my personal opinion. He went through that kind of grimacing with his elbow. I just think they felt like, hey, I don't know how it feels. Let's just see if he can't squeeze one or safety squeeze one. The defense certainly wasn't going to be looking for it with 2 strikes.
Good for the second out of the inning. Now Ryan Farber, who's drawn a couple of walks his last 2 at-bats, looks at ball 1 outside from Barrett. That ball drilled to right, gonna drift foul. Tigers have already pushed across a run of the inning, looking for another big insurance run over there at third. Bingaman.
I just realized, and Auburn was chasing them for the first half of the game. They've scored in every inning but 2.
Every inning but the first and fourth. Yeah, with the Seminoles, they've only scored in 2 innings. That full run first and got one back in the 8th with the Tigers. Have again made it a 3-run lead. 1-2 here to Farber.
I think both coaches would agree after the game, after they catch their breath, that it hasn't been the best defensive game that either team has played. We've had a lot of miscues behind the plate, out in the field. And there's been a lot of extra bases accounted on not so good a defense so far today.
Farber goes around, says Matthew Anderson at third. That ends the inning. But the Tigers again on top by 3. The Seminoles down to their final 3 outs as we go to the top of the 9th. 8-5 Auburn over Florida State on FloCollege. Ninth inning underway. 8-5 Auburn on top. Sheffield leading off in the ninth for Florida State. And the count even on that swing and a miss. 1-1. Sheffield, Bailey, Fisher do with the Seminoles in the ninth inning. And facing Ryan Hetzler. Ground ball to the left side. Farber. One down.
It's a good pitch. Got in on him. The two-seamer trapped his barrel, but the play is the shortstop and the third baseman communication, just like a fly ball. Brant, the shortstop calls him off. Same thing as the fly ball. You use some kind of communication, whether it's ball, mine, whatever it is. Because the third baseman broke after it hard. Watch this right here. Watch the third baseman get right to it. Farber calls him off. See him duck it, and it comes up with a good throw.
One down brings up Miles Bailey. Reached his first two at-bats since the 0 for 2. That's in there for a strike. 1-1.
Hetzler's missed with his first pitch 3 times to get behind in the count. You know what he comes to with a second pitch? He goes right to a slider to get back in the count, and that's hard on hitters. You miss with a 1-0, I mean a 0-0, and get to 1-0, you're a hitter, you're thinking, I'm getting a fastball, and he just slips a slider in there on you.
All 3 pitchers today for the Tigers, Sanders, Johnson, and Hetzler. Breaking ball has been the most effective pitch. 1-2. And Bailey able to lay off. Florida State will wrap up the tournament tomorrow against Nebraska. Auburn closes out against Louisville. 2-2 on the way. Swing and a miss. 2 out.
He opts to go after him with that slider in. Your margin of error when you go in there to a left-handed hitter is minimal, so you got to start it inside line. Inside corner of the plate. Watch it start inside corner and then disappear underneath him. It's a big-time pitch with 2 strikes.
Seminoles down to their final out as Cal Fisher steps up. And falls behind 0-1. Fisher hitless today with a couple of strikeouts, both against the starter Sanders. Sanders, I believe, is a pitcher of record.
Yep.
And would be in line to get the win.
Yep, because they scored those 3 runs, and he had been in there, and then they brought in Johnston.
Fitting with the way that Sanders battled back, that he get the win of this game. Florida State down to its final strike. Twelve punch-outs for Tigers pitching today. Make it 13. And the final one ends the game as Hetzler shuts the door in Florida State.
They're asking because the ball was foul tipped. Everybody hold on a second. The ball was foul tipped, according to the home plate umpire, and they think the ball hit, Florida State thinks the ball hit the ground. And they're not going to be able to review it, and so this game is over.
Now that'll do it as the Tigers hand the Seminoles their first loss of the season. And Auburn stands alone as the only unbeaten this weekend in Arlington. An 8-5 final. The Tigers scoring 8 unanswered after Florida State scored the first 4 runs of the game.
Yeah, a tale of two, obviously a tale of 2 different sides of the game. As you just mentioned, Florida State scoring those runs early 4. Auburn was chasing the rest of the game. Florida State couldn't extend it. They couldn't get out away from them, and that's due to Sanders. And he was dynamite with that breaker, the 2 different type breakers, the slider and the sweeper, and for strikes. And then Johnston comes in, and it seemed like he had runners all over him, you know, and a chance that Florida State was going to come up with that one big hit to go ahead or tie it. And he pitched his way out of it, and then Hetzler was, let me tell you what, he's got ice in his veins. That was a different looking deal. He went out there with a calm, cool collective and was able to land that slider at will. They find a way to come out here with a huge win for the Auburn Tigers.
And offensively, a big day for Bristol Carter at the top of the order for the Tigers. 4 plate appearances on all 4 times in this game. An infield single in the first inning. And then in the third, took Bryson Moore deep for his first home run of the season. Another single in the 5th, and later scores a part of a 3-run inning for the Tigers that saw them take the lead, one they would not relinquish. And in right, Bristol Carter, our player of the game, now down to the field, joined by Leanza Peroni.
Bristol, you fell behind by 4 in the top of the first, but scored in nearly every inning after that. What allowed this team to stay so disciplined at the plate and focused on the goal ahead?
Yeah, just trusting the process and going out there and piecing things together. And shout out to our pitching staff today, going out there and giving us a chance and, yeah, piecing things together.
You were nearly perfect, 3 hits and a big home run. What was working right for you today?
You know, just find a way to get to first and get things going. But, you know, I was seeing the ball well. And like I said, just finding a way to get to first and make things happen.
After falling behind by 4, the pitching staff limited FSU to only 1 run throughout the rest of the game. What does that say about the toughness and the composure of your pitching staff?
Yeah, we all trust each other, and we just hand it down, and we trust whoever's going to go out there and shove, and they did exactly what we needed to do to give our hitters a chance, and yeah.
Great win today. Congratulations.
Thank you. Warrior.
Back to you, Brant.
All right, thank you, Leanza. That'll wrap up our coverage of Florida State against Auburn, as the Tigers win it over the Seminoles 8-5. Jackson Sanders, his first win of the year. Ryan Hetzler the save, and Cato Leary the loss. Coming up next, the third and final game of our triple-header, as the K-State Wildcats out of the Big 12 take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers out of the Big 10. Coming up around 7:30 Central from Globe Life Field. For my broadcast partner Ty Harrington and our producer Browning Stubbs, I'm Brant Freeman saying so long for now from Arlington. The final score, Auburn 8, Florida State 5.